There it is to start us off today. That's a little band out of Manchester, England.
Manchester, across the Atlantic Sea.
This band actually sounded so different when they came out. It's probably the way electronic dance music sounds to me. Like when Joy Division came out, people were just like, "What?
What are all those beep boops?
What?" And now you listen to it, it just sounds like a pop song. It's very weird how the world is. It's sometimes like, I remember when 9 Inch Nails came out, people were like, is this the end of the earth? Is it all over now? Did the apocalypse happen? And now they sound like a band from the 90s.
Punk rock was like that. Punk rock is so poppy. But punk rock, they were like, this is noise. Look at all this noise and chaos. There's like a lot of melody in early punk rock.
It's really, really strange. But there's something that happens either to the ear or head whenever you're approached with something new musically. We'll be talking about this in our new music show.
I know.
I don't know whether we've talked about this much on the air, but once Gail and I started doing the Opie Radio on Fridays, there got to be a buzz around the old Sirius XM because we were talking about music a lot. So we were approached to do a music show. We gave them several ideas. And then they picked out they named it.
Yes.
What we wanted to do was something on different music scenes. Like, for instance, this would be perfect to do Manchester.
Absolutely.
In the early 80s. The bands that came out of the bands they've influenced, stuff like that. So they're going at GPS. And we will be airing on one of the big radio shows, one of the big stations out there. I think actually one of the cooler stations, and that's Deep Cuts.
Yeah, Deep Tracks. Yeah.
Deep Tracks.
Yes.
I wanted to change it to Deep Cuts, and they're like, a lot of people are going to think that that's butchering. So it will premiere. Deep Tracks 27 premieres 3 p.m. on Saturday, and then plays several times. We'll tweet all those out. We'll play Sunday. It'll play Tuesday. It'll play Wednesday after that. And then it'll be interesting to see. But, I go, why don't we play it at this thing? And we'll see. We'll see how it all turns out.
I can't wait. I am thrilled.
But we're going to do it on the city of Detroit. Now, you would think to yourself, oh, Detroit music, Motown. No, my friends.
No.
We are going to be playing rock.
Straight rock.
And it's going to be very, very cool. I walked in here today, Gail, and I saw a Periscope star that was talking with a incredibly beautiful woman.
Supermodel.
Yeah, maybe one of the really, the face of the 80s.
Yes.
The absolute face of the 80s. It was Cindy Crawford. And I look at her and I go, fuck, Cindy Crawford's here. Stop tweeting.
I'm going to Periscope.
No, just settle. Just be on the radio. Don't be so needy that you need to do all these things.
I wanted to scope a bit.
Oh,
No.
God,
You're a radio
stop
star.
scoping. No one cares about those cookies that you worked on all weekend. They're mean to you on that Periscope.
Bennington still isn't following me on Twitter.
Yes, we are. Chris locked it
I
in.
follow you.
I know, and you're awesome, Gal.
I follow you. I follow you on Periscope as well.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, I just started.
Well, you made the cookies over the weekend. They're 200 calories a piece.
Yep.
And then, what was yesterday?
Yesterday, you were asking, when is it okay to
What?
respond text message? When is it rude to not respond back? How much time do you have?
Okay, well, let me tell you where this comes from. It's about my son. My son has been a giant pain in the ass with texting lately.
I was
Your
assuming
son
it was a
doesn't
friend.
love you.
It was a child.
Why don't you call him?
I do call him, but he's got this thing now that anything I write to him, he uses the auto reply, talk later.
Well, that's nice.
Oh, no, it's not. And then sometimes he just doesn't respond, which is not very kind. He's 16. I mean, that's normal. But
So you asked the people,
yes.
and they gave you some responses.
Were they on?
They were on your side.
Yeah,
by the way.
that's a shocker.
Oh, goodness.
I was riveted, though.
Yeah, it's riveting, isn't it?
When is it okay?
The best thing is I'm going to get back on my treadmill because I got this cool thing that will hold the iPad so I can Periscope from there.
So you're going to Periscope and
Walk.
and jog.
Yeah.
Where is it? This will lead you to your goal, which is to be a member of The View. Is that what you will?
To be a member of what?
What are you trying to do with Periscope? Are you trying to get on the Chew?
I don't
the
know.
View?
The Chew, yes. I don't even know. I'm just trying. Listen, I don't have the team that Bennington has, and so I have to spread the word about my radio show or anything else that I might end up doing myself.
We started 3 Periscope shows over the weekend.
I saw the iBang.
Smoking,
I'm following the iBang.
Yeah, Smoking with Chris.
Yeah.
Hey.
I didn't see that.
Which,
I saw the iBang.
I have actually had to call in.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone's ever did a call in on a Periscope.
Thank you.
But I had to say stop walking around so much. I couldn't. I felt like I was going to throw up.
There was a lot of energy on that first episode.
It was a run and gun type Periscope.
And you yelled at one producer and physically pushed another.
Yeah.
It was assault.
And then I was no, I never see it live, but I'll see it later. So I can't give hearts or whatever. But
You still can.
Joey, JoJo, and Dan were out at the Big Brian Regan show, and Periscope was going crazy for them. But they were funny because they were treating it like drop-ins. They were like this, okay, we'll be back. They would have this massive amount of people. They would run out of things to say, and they'll go, all right, we'll be back in 10 minutes. And then they...
Stop and come back.
Yeah, and I'm like, this isn't drop-ins on a radio show. We're out at the big Pearl Jam show. Everybody's going crazy. Stop by, and if you want to pick up some T-shirts or bumper stickers. So I would see just like massive amounts of people. People were walking over them to the lobby or saying where their seats were, and it was like really fun. And then they would drop out and come back 15 minutes later, have to rebuild the room. Hey, we're back, everybody. I'm like, the world isn't sitting around waiting patiently. You got to be like Jenny Hutt, put it on and leave it on 24 hours a day.
I do not.
I watched you drop heat the other day. I don't know what you're doing.
I have gone like 9 days without posting or without going on. It just, when the mood strikes, I do it.
Oh, Jenny.
I'm trying to come up with a thing to do every day. I just haven't yet.
You did a cooking segment. You did Our Children Don't Love Us. Why didn't you do the very beautiful...
Because I wasn't allowed. There's rules still here about what you can and cannot.
Now, does she look as good? You said.
Let
right
me tell you
next to her.
something. This morning, I got my makeup done. I wanted to really look like a human being because I was interviewing a fucking supermodel.
Right.
But I had no idea when I saw her walk down the hall. Like did not anticipate just how unbelievably strikingly gorgeous she is in person. I mean, in pictures, there's no one like her, but you see her walking down the hall and I wanted to go home. Like, I was like, can I just,
So you felt like a threat.
Now.
You felt like it was a threat.
No, I just felt like being next to her. I mean, she's just the most magnificent thing. So if you battle the whole like insecurity thing to begin with, it's not going to make you feel better. She's just incredible.
But let me ask, do you know that they beat up on her now in the gossip things, and they say that she's not attractive, and they say she's not. I don't know. I guess she's not 21. They beat the, they'll show her in a bathing suit and try to, and I'm like, I just saw her. I walked in and saw her. And it was stunning. It looks
stunning,
like literally the way you would imagine a queen to look.
Yeah, she looks like Cindy Crawford. I mean, she really looks like Cindy Crawford. It's
when I walked by, I just was like, oh my God.
Yes.
No,
oh my God.
That's how I felt.
Now, you've never been with a woman before.
No,
right?
never.
But if Cindy Crawford were to say to you, you know what, this interview went so great.
Let's do it.
Let's get it on.
No, not my thing. I don't like. I'm not.
Come on,
like
Cindy
that.
Crawford.
Yeah, no.
Don't lie.
Vagina isn't my thing. How come you and I always get back into the vagina talk?
But here's the thing,
It's just what
Chris.
happens.
If Joe Montana said "suck my dick," would you do it?
Break it out, Joe.
See,
Wow,
that's respect.
That's progressive.
You're the best.
That's not.
That's
I mean,
respect.
I wouldn't
It's true.
hesitate,
It's
Ron.
what it
I'd be
is.
like, why hasn't your dick been out before this? You didn't even have to ask, Joe. You're Joe Cool, baby. Come on.
wow. Yeah, no, that's not how I am. But
All right, do you realize that this would have helped you to your fame if you would have got Cindy Crawford as your Periscope guest?
I mean, look,
Fame is so important to you.
I was asked to do the Leading Ladies series at Sirius XM for the Cindy Crawford
Well, it's great.
event. So it wasn't for my show. It was for SiriusXM. So
but you couldn't have picked a better one. You couldn't have picked a better one to get.
Cool. She was
Who
great.
are the other leading ladies we're going to be getting?
I mean, I've interviewed Giada De Laurentiis. I interviewed Brooke Shields. She was actually really interesting, Brooke. And then you'll be thrilled with this, Susan Lucci.
I don't know a lot about her. I think she lost Emmys, right? Isn't that her big deal?
Maybe did she win one?
I think she got
after
one.
Like 19
Yeah,
nominations.
that ruins the fun for me.
Right.
Keep it going.
Yeah.
But
Like
nothing
John
compared.
Hamm.
Wait, you interviewed John Hamm as part of the
No,
leading
I'd like
lady.
to. I'm saying like he didn't win an Emmy until this year.
I don't follow John Hamm. I know you're a fan, Gail.
Oh yeah,
You like the Hamm?
I liked the Mad Men.
Me too.
I never stayed with it. I watched like half of the first season. I just, I don't care whether they got the Pepsi account. It just didn't do it for me. I don't know. Should I have? I mean, I don't even like real advertising people.
The pitch he gave for Kodak was amazing.
I forget that there was somebody on TV the other day, and it's a famous person, and their father wrote "Plop Plop Fizz Fizz," right? Or what a relief it is.
Right.
And I'm like, that's a weird thing to be known for in your life.
Yeah.
It's a very strange thing.
But it does kind of seem like a cool career.
Does it?
Like it kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, for a musician, like at least you're
jingle
making.
Oh, yeah, that's what you're looking forward to it as a musician.
By the way, I wish that I could do voiceover work or jingles or that kind of thing.
You wish you could do everything.
I do.
Because Dad didn't love you? Was that it?
Oh, Dad loved me. He still does.
And yet, there's a hole in your heart.
There is a hole in my heart.
There really is.
I know.
But will you ever be satisfied?
I'm not sure.
How many Cindy Crawfords will it take to fill that hole?
It's unclear.
You know,
it's unclear.
You go through bouts of depression.
I do.
You've been
sure.
And
Yeah,
I think this is
most women do.
not like you. Most women aren't periscoping constantly. Now, I would see. Here's the thing, I was watching your Periscope the other day when you were making cookies and explaining that you won't even eat your own cookies because they're
I did eat one, 200
calories.
Once I did the nutritionals.
But then as I'm watching it, I'm like, this is strange because I feel like I've known two Jenny Hutts, and it's only been like 5 or 6 years. The first time I met her, she was a plump,
fuller figured gal
who followed around this mean person, and Jenny was the nice person.
Changed in years.
Yeah, and a lot's changed. And then you had the bypass or whatever.
I did not.
That was the rumor.
That's just a lie.
That's the rumor here. Believe me.
No.
Can I tell you? The rumor's been around. This is how out of it I am. The rumor's been around for years.
I'm going to say it again. Did not happen. No surgery. Diet, exercise, hell. It's fucking hell.
But we all know the person who told me, and they said, "How did you not know? We've been saying this for 4 years." I go, "It never dawns on me." So, but this is what and
not true.
You were doing like the Martha Stewart thing, and I'm like, it's weird because it's almost like Jenny and Alexis became one person. You know what I mean? Like there were two of you before. You were the happy. She was the lounging against. She was heroin chic. You know what I mean?
I don't think
she was in a lot of affairs.
Oh, many.
And now you and Alexis have merged into the same person.
Not even kinda. How so? I don't even know how that even.
Imagine if you were listening to the show and you just heard me go, "Now I'm the gay one." You know what I mean? And they're like, "Oh, I see." Rana's merged into one.
I don't think that
person.
anybody who listens to the show that I do now, my Just Jenny show, would say that I remind them at all of my ex co-host.
But you know how like there was a thing where Alexis kind of hated and wanted to be Martha Stewart, you know what I mean? And you guys used to do the mean shows about Martha.
We used to do a funny show.
Well, it was called "Fuck You, Martha."
Whatever, Martha.
Okay, whatever it was.
You can find videos of that still online.
Yeah, it was very
there
edgy.
you can see the fuller figure of me.
And they were just like, "Oh, shut up, Martha." Why Martha was doing her show.
Right.
It was like one of those science fiction 2000, whatever that show.
Mystery Science.
No, that can't be it.
That's what it was.
I think it was Science Fiction 2000. That's the name of it. But something happened when you merged into two people. It's fascinating.
I don't feel that way, so.
But here's what now you could look at Jenny and you're like, oh my God, what is she chasing? What is she chasing? But if I watch The View or I watch Wendy Williams, I'm like, Jenny Hutt is just as good as them.
That's really nice of you to say. Thank you.
Well, no, I didn't even mean it as a compliment.
Oh, wow.
It's not a high. Stop tweeting.
Yeah, I wasn't. My producer texted me. I just want to make sure she didn't leave me.
It's not this high level thing. You could honestly be on those shows or every bit.
They're really tough gigs to get. So maybe
what are you
one
going to
day.
do to get?
I don't. I mean, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing.
But you're in a race against the years, and that's what scares me.
I am.
Yeah.
By the way, I definitely am, and it scares me too. But I keep going. It's part of why. Oh gosh, the words that are going to come out of my mouth right now, you're definitely going to make fun of. I just know it. I'm waiting. But if I do Periscope, or I make my own videos, or I run my own social media, and I do everything myself, then I control my own narrative. There you go. And I choose to. I am old. I am getting long in the tooth, and so it's all. I have to make it happen. I did always had them, but I have to make it happen because they're not going to just pluck me out and be like, "Let's put her on TV."
But even if you get that show, if you're on with 4 other people and you're all cackling, are you going to be happy then?
Who knows?
I watched the Brian Regan special, and he was talking about just the sounds that come out of the View, and. If I ever turn my back on, and by the way, it's not just women. Watch the fucking pregame NFL shows. It's just people yelling at the same time. They don't even know how to do broadcasting.
Shows. I mean, look, if you watch a show like The Talk, they are fluid and fantastic.
But what do they ever say that matters?
They have really good content, actually. They have some hearty discussion.
Hearty?
Sometimes,
like soup?
What character would you be if you were
I'm
on
not
The
a
Talk?
character.
Because I've seen you.
Me.
What angle would you take?
Yeah.
Oh, Gail, I don't have an angle.
Unhappy rich girl? That could be so sweet.
It's good.
I don't think that's it. I just think that I am fiercely independent and interested in making a name for myself and having more worth or finding more worth.
Independent woman is character.
What is worth? What is this worth that you're finding?
Fulfillment.
Yeah, but what is the fulfillment being on a show like that?
No, I don't even know that that's exactly the end game. I mean, I like TV, so I would like to be able to get back to having a daily TV gig in addition to my radio show, but I'm not really sure what the.
How come you never had me on your TV show?
Well, it wasn't that kind of TV show, where there were guests that were interesting and compelling like you.
Come on, Jenny.
Yeah.
What happened?
But you have an open invitation to the radio show.
I'll do it anytime.
Okay.
Please. I'd love to.
Okay.
And I'd love to do all those shows. Now, but I want to go on what are they, the Leading Ladies? I want to just sit next to you on that.
I like that.
You know what the first thing I would have asked?
What?
The gerbil story.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
Did you shove it up there?
I didn't go that
or was it already there when you got?
I felt like that's been asked and answered.
No,
maybe more
never has been asked of either of them.
He hasn't been asked directly?
Never. Because it's such a false story. How do you say it to someone? It's a lie. The story was always a lie. But I would just
ask. That lying story then had legs. I mean, it went everywhere.
The 4 little gerbil legs.
4 little gerbil legs.
Adorable legs.
Did you think it actually happened?
No, I just think it was lore. I'm not sure. I've never really known whether or not it were true.
You're not sure.
Have you ever heard of another animal being
Again, I am not. Listen, maybe I'm a little square, but my sexual history is pretty, I guess, standard.
I've always felt like you were kind of square because you didn't put gerbils in your butt.
Right?
I've always just kind of thought that about you.
That is sort of like the barometer. Like, that's how you tell.
All right, let's forget gerbil. What about just a finger? I mean, a pinky.
Start small.
Butt play?
Yeah.
I'm not really into butt play.
Not really into it, but
not really my
just
thing.
around the edges.
Not
like willing, but not into it.
Not really into butt play.
Okay, but let's say, would that be a deal breaker, sister?
There's none of that sort of, it might be a deal breaker.
Yeah.
There's not that, I think there's a shift in the whole idea of consent to enthusiastic consent rather than just direct consent when it comes to sex. So I definitely could not offer up enthusiastic consent when it comes to butt play.
Okay. But if it started to happen, would you be like, hey?
I think my husband and I have a pretty good routine in terms of my willingness or not.
Boy, that's what you like, to be in a good routine.
We have a willingly routine. What?
Yeah.
Tried and true.
I'm talking about the butt play.
Tried and
it's not
true.
The sex is all good. I just the butt play thing is definitely. And
I've explored everything she's willing to do. It's a successful
I
marriage.
just have a couple of no's.
No, you don't use makeup for the Periscope shows.
Not always, no.
How
I mean,
come?
if it's on me, it's on me. If it's not, it's not. Because it's, again, the makeup thing at work, if I'm interviewing an actress who's fully done up, then I want to have makeup on, because then if we take a picture,
It's competition.
it's not a competition. It just
like
looks similar.
Now, I went on a rant. I would actually say I was on a rant with the kids
boy.
here today before. And it was not so much about Cindy, but the fashion industry itself.
What's wrong with it?
Well, first of all, when I see people, do you honestly not see anything that's wrong with
There's
it?
tons wrong with it.
But I feel like there's a couple of gay guys who are making women around the world to feel bad about
For
themselves.
sure. For
So
sure.
why do you guys give it, and why isn't there like leading women? Why do you always follow gay guys? What the fuck is wrong with women that they don't take their own power?
There's also a decent amount of straight guys who are making
Yeah.
decisions
Name one.
in fashion.
There are
there.
Name a
men
straight dude.
Who, well, in fashion, have you ever seen how Ralph Lauren cuts clothes?
Wait, Ralph Lauren straight?
No.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Straight.
Yes.
Totally.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
The guy
And
think
his
he's
clothing is cut so small. There's a thing with sizing that goes on with certain companies. Like you could shop at, let's say, a Gap, and a Gap size 4 is like a Ralph Lauren size 8. It's
I don't know what any of those things mean.
It's basically
confusing.
saying it's like they want to say if you're of a certain size, we don't even want you wearing our clothes,
right.
so
And
we're
even
like
if you
sizing
are-
you out.
And
Okay.
even if you are a certain size in one store, you're going to come to our store, and that size isn't going to fit you.
See, this is why men run the world, is because they take it and they say we're going.
You're
We're
right.
going to conquer the world.
It's another thing I'm
And
fighting right now.
Women are willing to be conquered, and that's why I'm done voting to protect women's rights. I'm done with it because they don't care about it themselves.
I think we do. I think we do.
Would you ever vote for an anti-choice candidate, or have you ever?
I would not vote for someone who was not pro-choice. Listen,
Well, what do you say about women who do vote that way, though?
I find it mind-boggling, frankly. I find it really odd that there could be a woman who would choose to vote for anybody that would have any hesitation toward A, the right to choose, and B, any of the sort of equality issues and how things impact women.
And yet, who's meaner to women than women?
Well, women are often the meanest, but
Thank
in
you.
terms of the political sphere,
That's
I'd
why
argue
I'm
that
not.
they're men who are
I will
also-
never vote for women's rights again. I'm done with them. I voted that way plenty of times.
And then it's over.
Yeah. Now I'm back in Don Trump, big Don Trump.
Oh, God.
100%.
good.
Oh, goodness.
And he's going to.
Did you see that interview on 60 Minutes?
Yeah, and I loved it. I loved the fact that he's going to make someone else
When
wall
he actually
themselves
said,
out of the country.
hold on a minute. When he said, when I guess it was Scott Pelley who said to
Mm-hmm.
him, how are you? He started to say, we're going to take the Ford is moving into Mexico, and I'm going to take it back here, and I'm going
Good.
to have a tax, and I'm
Good.
going to do
Perfect.
this, I'm going to do that.
Jobs.
And Scott Pelley's like, how are you going to do that? And then he's like, well, I'm going to get the best people in the finance industry
does that. He does it.
He's got
Good.
friends who know friends.
And look, it's going to work. And
Yeah.
I'm voting with him this year.
It would be like, my radio show is going to be great because I'm going to get Ron Bennington to come and do my radio show.
Yeah.
Who would then listen if they were? It doesn't make sense.
So you were saying if somebody had a radio show and you brought somebody else in,
I'm saying you wouldn't say to me, I'm going to put you on the air. If you had wanted to put me on the air, then you wanted to put me on the air. If they're going to vote for him for president, then he's got to be president. Not, I'm going to find somebody to do my damn job.
who are you voting for then?
Don't know. It's really
See?
bad.
Men, no.
It's
Men,
really
no.
bad.
You have the perfect person to vote for if you wanted to be pro-woman.
Listen, Hillary Clinton.
woman
Well, yes,
president.
of course. And listen, do I think ultimately I'm going to end up voting for Hillary Clinton? Probably. But right now, I think everything is a fucking mess.
Unbelievable.
Where are you, Gail, on this?
Well, there's not just one issue with Hillary, which I think probably is why a lot of women struggle with her.
Here's the thing. Before I would vote for Hillary, I'm going to vote for the first Asian American.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to for the first Latino American male president. I'm going to go through every male that could
Bernie
be represented.
Sanders, first Jew.
The first. Oh boy, I'm
Exactly.
going to wait.
Tied.
I'm
Less
going
tied
to
for
wait
you.
for the first
I
Jew.
knew it wasn't going to work out.
I might even vote for the first woman and then the first
Exactly. Jew.
Smart.
Yeah.
because
I get it.
You killed our savior.
I'm sorry.
Were you shocked? Were you turned off at all when the Pope came to town and you saw the way the news just gathered around? Like, can you imagine us doing this for a Protestant or a Jew or a Wiccan or a Tibetan?
I mean, it's weird because we have the whole presumption of separation of church and state. And so it's the fact that there was so much of the government's involvement in the Pope's visit and really treating him like a world leader beyond a religious leader. He is a world leader. Right. So let me finish. But this Pope is different. So as a Jew, and we're not a religious family, I don't even know what I do or don't believe in terms of God, but I like this Pope. I think he's the most, sort of all encouraging. He's a departure from what the Catholic Church is, the right to choose, of course,
and beyond,
and some of the other women's rights too, which is not good. But if I look at progress, Ron, that maybe this is like heading toward a change in how the Catholic Church will be down the line.
If anything, it's just empowering the Catholic Church in a way that hasn't been empowered in decades. If anything, you should be sitting there going like this: what does this even mean? Yeah. But there wasn't a single voice that said that. There wasn't a.
Well, Fox News is pretty mad at him because he's not conservative enough.
They're mostly concerned about the fact that they think he wants to give all their money away.
He wants to help the poor. Yeah. That's their thing.
That's what their
which
problem
is really
is.
bad.
He crossed the line there.
But I will say that nobody is mentioning the fact that that he's not been progressive in any way when it comes to women.
No, not even slightly. Not even slightly when it comes to women. Women, when I was a kid, there used to be nuns in the neighborhood. The nuns used to be teachers and all that. You don't see nuns the way you used to. And then so the nuns raised us. They ran our lives, blah, blah, blah. Then a priest went in and all the nuns were like, oh my God, Father's here, Father's here. They would all fall to him. The one priest, and he'd come in like
like a rock
stinking
star.
a fucking gin, like, hey, everybody, did you do all that work I said? He
is so great.
Yeah. And everybody was just like, he's amazing. Be afraid. Father's coming. Father's coming.
Well, there's something interesting that happens when there's something progressive happening, but it doesn't involve women, right? So like you're saying, okay, he's doing some progressive stuff and anything progressive is a better change. But that was something that actually split the women's suffrage movement. Mm-hmm. Like it actually completely split these two groups of women in half. One that were saying, whoa, looks like everybody's kind of turning to say that we should have the black vote, that people are starting to support that. And women were saying, yes, if that happens, then that's something good for us because that means we're creating a more progressive thing. Yeah. And the other half of the women were saying, no, not them first. Are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me?
Right. Well, maybe the hope is that down the road it'll all, I guess that I'm...
Look, I got... Men go by one, our favorite of all time. Me first and the gimme gimmes. That's what we say. It's me first and the gimme gimmes.
That's why you're always making such great cover songs.
If you want to come in second, if you want to support, good. But I don't have to hear you whining anymore. You gotta stand up, and when I see the wave breaking, I'll jump on and surf with everyone else. But I'm not going to sit around and go, oh, I feel sorry for you, and then have you still go, but I don't know. I don't know. Look, here's the difference. Obama ran, right? He got something like 93% of the black vote because black people said, hey, we're going to push one of ours. Is there any way if Hillary had 93% of the women's vote, she's president of the United States?
It's nuts. And I agree with you that there's a weird thing happening that all women haven't gotten together and said, just because she's a woman, we should push her through. I think she's a horrible candidate and would probably be a much better
You know
president.
Why she thinks she's a horrible candidate? Because men told you so.
No, I think that
men told you so. That's who's doing all the bitching.
Is that what you think?
Yeah.
But there are plenty of women who are left leaning who are concerned about her tendencies for like war, and she's certainly been lustful for war.
Good.
For a long time.
Vote for Bernie Sanders. He's your guy. Bernie Sanders or jump in Joe Biden. He's your guy.
Is he going to jump in, you think?
Of course he is.
You really think so?
Yeah, I do.
Wow.
I think he's going to jump in and he's going to talk about his son passing away, talking about his ex-wife passing away. And
you think everyone's going to vote him in that way?
Yeah. Oh, I don't think he's. I don't think he can win.
Right.
But I think he can win the Democratic ticket.
Oh God, if he wins the I want her. I mean, I want her on that ticket. But I'm so curious what's going to be on the Republican side, though. Aren't you?
No, I don't care
Not
either
curious?
way. No. If it's not Trump, I'm going to be highly disappointed because
I don't think it's going to be
why did
him.
we do all this?
I mean, how could it possibly?
You know what it
fun for so long.
It reminded me of like when Charlie Sheen's fucking tour fell apart. How disappointing that was. And I'm like, well, why did we all build it up? Why did we all go winning?
Tiger blood.
Tiger blood winning. Yeah, get Trump, get behind him, watch Mad Men, put Madison Avenue above everybody else. I love it.
I don't want Trump to win.
Hey, who's Cindy Crawford with now?
She's done.
She's not with anybody?
No, I mean,
She doesn't have a husband?
she's married. Randy Gerber. She married him for 17 years.
Who is he?
He was a club promoter, nightlife guy, and he owned the whiskey bar.
Oh, in L.A., the whiskey?
Yeah, and they're like best friends with, and he's partners with George Clooney in the tequila business, and they're besties with George Namal, and they're kind of fabulous.
So their life is good.
Yeah. Sounds pretty nice.
They got 2 kids, 16 and 14.
Why didn't you ever have this shit taken off her face? Is there a reason?
Signature.
Did you ask that?
Hey, you should have said you had band surgery. Why won't she at least take that fucking
didn't
thing?
have band
But
surgery.
you know, people around here say that, right?
I can't control what people are going to say. I can only say
Who
what
do you
is
think
true.
said it to me?
I have no idea. It's just out of the ether because it's just not so.
It's a physical person.
No, I'm saying, but
Steve, what's up?
Hey, am I on?
Yeah.
Steve? Hey, the reason Hillary's a banned candidate is that she's got no self-awareness. She does things in public that I wouldn't, if she was my friend, I'd like be thinking, what the heck are you
She
saying?
doesn't have the self-awareness that a Donald Trump has?
Yeah, a little bit. Well, we're putting on the Yankees hat when she's running for senator. Like, oh,
By the
you're a
way,
sports fan, huh, right?
other than men, who did that infuriate? Other than men. Women do not view a Yankees and a Cubs hat the way men do, but women fell in line because their husbands started saying, that is something that isn't done.
So what, everyone was upset because she put on the hat?
Furious.
They
Yeah, when she
lost
was
it.
running for senator of New York, she put on a Yankees hat when she's from, the Midwest, and she was a Cubs fan when she was younger, but when she moved to New York, she put on the Yankees hat.
Oh, who cares?
I don't care about that.
Men
Everyone.
Right.
Men care. And that lack of self-awareness.
Oh yeah, and empathy. I don't think she realizes what other people see when they look at her.
And what would that be?
That she's just all about herself, and she doesn't really, she's a career politician.
I'm going to take this back to Brian Regan's set again, because this was my favorite joke. He said he would never be president because every morning someone wakes up, goes like this, wake up, there's trouble, right? Now, we're sitting around here, and not just because we're with Jenny Hutt, but narcissism, right? And I'm teasing her about it because she has to be on whatever social media at all time. But can you imagine what a narcissist that you have to be if you say, I'm the best person to be leader of the free world? I'm the person that if there's missiles in the air, I should be the one dealing with it. That's fucking insane.
All of you should be listening to me because I know how to get it done correctly.
I can't imagine how much training
But then
I
we
would have,
get-
and I go, I still am not ready.
But
Even
it's
if you're-
amazing. Sorry, go ahead.
Even if just to say all big decisions go through me. Let me just check your work. Because I've got the best ideas.
It does. I can't imagine the cocksureness to think I'm the guy.
But
And
how
I mean,
come,
like-
but Ron, you're right about that. But then people get mad at candidates, or they get mad and say things like, "Why are they so cocky?" And I'm like you're saying, well, of course they're so cocky because they think that they're.
But that's insane. That's an
Right.
insane amount of cockiness. It's an
Yes.
insane amount of thing. And then you hear people like Ronald Reagan. They're like, "Oh, he slept like a baby." I'm like, "What did he? What was going on in his mind that
do
he could
anything.
sleep like a baby?"
I think I told you this before, the thing about Kennedy, his ability to nap.
Yeah.
And that when things were just like really stressful in the middle of the day, he's like, okay, I just need to recharge. He would put on his pajamas in the light of day while just, war was at hand. And he would take a half-hour nap and would be able to go out like a light. Could you imagine having that?
I had to be assisted, no?
No, they were saying that he has always had this ability to just be like, you know what I need to do? Just shut down for 30 minutes. Like, I can't sleep if I know I have to just be up in the morning. I'm just like,
but here's the deal, too. When you're saying it's assisted, you don't pop back up after you've had sleeping pills, and you're also...
I've never taken one.
Really?
Yeah, never.
Missing out.
I'm afraid of that.
Afraid of what?
I also don't sleep very well, so there you go. I'm afraid of Ambien, and it's knocking me out. I don't want to do that. Because what if my kids need me? I don't know. That'd be
They're not even answering the phone now.
But when they need
They're
me,
fucking answering
when
strangers.
they need me.
Is it wrong that they don't text right back?
But you're afraid of just being out of control for that
I don't
too
like
long?
it. Not my thing.
This could be the butt play.
You never like
again.
to get good and fucked up?
Did you have to go right back to... No.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Never. Mm-mm. Never.
Maybe you wouldn't be so needy if you just fucking got hammered a couple times.
It's not for me. I don't... Alcohol
Have you
doesn't
tried?
work for me. I tried to drink.
A lot of
in
Jewish
college.
guys do not like to drink.
liked it.
Or they handle it badly. And
Oh, they do?
Yeah, they get like too drunk too quickly. I know a couple of Jewish guys who fucking get sloppy.
Yeah. It's because you weren't around enough fucking milk and cheese and stuff. I mean, it went on for eons.
Yeah.
Who's, so you're voting for Bernie Sanders because he's a Jew?
No. No. Mm-mm.
Who are you voting for?
I don't think he's getting the Democratic
Do you
nomination
think it's going to be
anyway.
Hillary?
I think so. I mean, if it doesn't, it's just, this is how warped we are anyway. That in my head, I'm like, if she doesn't get the presidency this time, she's going to just feel so bad about herself. Like she's accomplished nothing.
Yeah, that's what that she's accomplished nothing.
It's like, which is so crazy.
No,
But-
it's you. You
but
always feel
I
like
think
you're-
a lot of people said like it does like an emotional thing to you. Think about it that we think about her losses and like she was Secretary of State. Like she's a real heavy hitter.
she's a senator.
Right. She's done a lot. She's done
Yeah.
plenty. She's raised a lovely daughter who's a good writer.
Is she a good writer?
Yeah. When the emails came out, some of the emails were from Chelsea and they were like these beautifully written, incredible, heartfelt, emotional do-gooder emails to her parents about why they had to help out in Haiti and why there was, I mean, my kids write me things like, here's these permission slips. Please sign them, Mom.
Permission to what? Go buck wild?
Yeah, pretty much. A school
Eat a
thing.
bunch of Adderall.
Yeah.
I saw you with your daughter, and you tried to get her on Periscope,
that baby
and she
girl.
just looked at you like
I'm
seriously,
nuts.
like you
I'm
had
nuts.
puked.
Except when she wants. So, I mean, when she has friends over, she'll be like, Mom, if you let me have 15 kids over tonight, I will totally Periscope with you.
I bet. What do they all do? Get high in the other room?
No, they do not get high not in my house. Not at this point. So
What do they do? Walk out back next to the pool? Get high there?
No. They have
That's
to
what I
stay
would
in
do.
my house. They can only go as far as the porch.
You know-
And
Why can they only go as far as the porch? How old are they?
15-year-olds are so naughty that
No
you
kidding.
have to check bags before they come in because they'll sneak in alcohol. There has to be any alcohol
Why
in
would
the
you
house has to be
check
locked.
bags?
Are you the
locked
TSA
out.
or is this a house?
Because the kids,
They got the line.
they sneak in water bottles and with vodka. And so our house is not the drinking house. I mean, there are other houses that are. There are party places, but our
But
house
you
is
know
not.
what? For all you know, they're bringing in Tab's acid.
I hope not.
Molly's tiny.
I mean, I've seen the kids. They don't seem like they're tripping.
What does seeming like you're tripping look like?
Just act like you're tripping.
I can't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't tripped.
Whoa, Mrs. Hutt! You two heads?
Hey, yeah. You red hair.
No, I can't
Doesn't
imagine that.
happen. Mm-mm.
You're never going to catch them.
Well,
Probably
you were with
not, but-
Cindy Crawford today.
Was yeah.
It was amazing. To me, that was one of the, I was so impressed.
It was
I actually
fun.
yelled out, "Look who's Jenny's with!" I was so
It
happy
was really,
for you.
it was exciting to get to do that one. I did a lot of prepping for it, so hopefully it came out good.
Now, do you let the audience ask questions in
A
those?
few. They asked a few.
Yeah. What are they?
Two or
What
three.
kind of questions they asked?
God, I have to now remember. One of them was like a top career moment, I think. And then I forget what the other one was. There were a lot, I mean, and then there was an Instagram question about makeup from somebody, but we talked about her whole life and her marriage and having a daughter who's going to be a model. And
Did you ask her about Richard Gere?
I just asked her why she thinks people still want to know about him when they were together for 6 years, long before she got married 17 years ago. So it's going back so long ago.
Can you imagine if somebody asked you about your ex from
It just seems
25
weird,
years ago?
right? It just seems odd. Like, who cares?
Why would you talk to me about that?
But that's the thing of two famous people. And, and they'll be like, hey, have you ever heard from? I'm like, can you imagine if someone brought up your prom date to you?
Right.
Especially, that long ago, it would be like someone just bringing up someone you dated in high school.
Right.
But I wonder if it's like that if someone even brought up like an album that you made in the 80s. Like, when you came out with Thriller, you're like, what?
Oh, God.
Talk about that.
Why did you ask me that, Martha Quinn? Oh, because you're on the 80s channel. I get it.
I have to go.
See you later, darling.
I'm going to go do my live show now. Thanks for having me
Thanks
on.
for periscoping with us.
Okay, follow
scope.
me at Jenny High.
Yeah.
Please follow her.
Yeah.
And Bennington Show as well.
Follow the Bennington show, will you? Look how nice you look, too.
You look
It's a
beautiful, by the way.
Really great outfit. Did you get that new for this?
No, it was in my closet.
It's a very good color for you with your hair.
Did Cindy say you looked great?
Goodbye.
Bye, Jenny.
I wonder if she had that surgery.
Definitely.
Bad.
Definitely. It was a lap band.
Nice. She's such a nice person.
Oh, yeah.
But I swear, I was watching it the other night. I'm like, oh man, I feel like I've known two different people. She was so different years ago.
Yeah. I mean, I saw once that they were leaving, her and Alexis, and Alexis had her get in the front seat of the car they were taking. It was very
It
strange.
was like a limo.
Yeah, it was like, yeah.
So explain that. Just not a regular car. That wouldn't be a terrible thing.
So basically, there was a driver,
There was
and
a
they
driver.
would have been the two passengers, and then she made her get in the passenger seat.
Yeah. Yeah, she was riding shotgun as Alexis was
Come
hanging in
on.
the back. I swear to God it happened.
She wanted to put her feet up.
Yeah.
No, she just didn't want to be with that needy person anymore. She would sit there and just be like, oh God, why would you bring that up? Like, fucking Jenny used to do all the show prep and stuff. We're going to talk about guys and guy things and why guys don't treat us better. And, Alexis would be like, maybe it's because you're a fat creep. You ever think of that?
That is not good.
Well, I mean, she was an heir to the Stewart fortune.
Yeah, that is true. That's gonna change a personality.
And she was raised like Richie Rich. Like literally like Richie Rich. Like she was closer with the employees than with her own mom. She was like, I remember once in the 5th grade, I got to see my mom.
It's a wonderful memory.
And people were like, when you're a kid, you thought, oh, God, I would love to be,
the rich kid.
Bill Gates's kid or something.
Sure.
Or, whereas Steve Jobs, this whole movie comes out, like all it has to deal with, he didn't even want to meet his daughter.
Yeah, he denied it the entire time for years and decades.
And why is that what the whole movie's about? Because that's, do you know how many people who don't pay attention to their kids? And we don't watch a movie about them? Somebody who lies to their kids and say, oh, I can't take you to Little League. Daddy's a spy. And then he just goes out and gets fucking high somewhere.
I always wonder how much of those types of movies and books where they release stuff is like people just wanting to feel like, I thought he was a genius, but now I feel a lot better about myself.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't do that to my kids, at least.
Maybe I'm no genius, but I was at every play.
Right.
Hated it, but I went to every play.
And I wouldn't trade that for anything.
No?
For all that fucking giant money and prestige and glory. Again, there's something about that personality that you probably really have to move these products into being reality. Going from idea to reality probably takes some obsessive fucking awful gene.
I think that about anyone with success. Anybody who's like, I clawed my way to the top. At what price? Most people, they have to either ignore something else or they have to push someone else out of their life in order to do it.
I remember one time I was over on Roosevelt Island, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm walking, and it's fucking Saturday, and I'm thinking about work, and I look over, and there's this gigantic Mexican family, and they were all together, and they had picnic tables, and they were cooking food, and some of the people were fishing in the East River, right? And they're playing music, and they looked so happy. And I thought, I'm far away from, any extended family. I'm certainly not as happy as these people, which obviously, if you went by earnings, I should have more. Now, that can also be this thing of not paying it, I just caught them on one afternoon. Maybe there's other days but there's something really true about the best things in life being free. There is something true about it. And yet we work away from that every single day in our life. Every day.
But then don't you think that people fantasize about the opposite? Like they fantasize about being free of that. The constraints of having to make money or to be successful. Like, I wish I could wish I could live somewhere beautiful or do something creative without it being affected. But then the actions of what they do is the complete opposite.
Yes. Because I think we're almost triggered and trained. And now here's the thing. A lot of times you'll go past like a beautiful house, right? And you'll see a guy with beautiful cars. You don't know if he's over his fucking head in debt. You don't know if this motherfucker is just in that house screaming on the phone, motherfucker, you're killing me, you're destroying me.
I have to pay for this house.
Motherfuck, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. But we go, look at that. That must be wonderful to have a house like that. But would you really want to fucking carry the weight? That's the fucking weird thing about it. I mean, you look at Jenny Hutt, she is completely driven. She works 24 hours a day. She says to get worth. You know what I mean? But I wasn't kidding when I said she's as good as those. There's people in whatever that fucking show that she likes.
The Talk.
Is that it's called The Talk?
I believe that's what she said.
Which one is The Talk?
It's got the Big Brother lady. It's got Ozzy's wife.
Okay. I get the
got Roseanne's daughter.
The View and the Talk.
There's nothing on there that you can't hear on Jenny's show.
Yeah. Jenny could do that.
Yeah.
Jenny would crush on that show.
And yet, do any of them actually crush? That's the fucking problem. Is it even worth anything? That's the thing. Like tonight is Trevor Noah's show, right?
Yes.
He takes over the Daily Show. The pressure of doing that must be immense. And the people that are going to be pulling him in the wrong directions, the suits that are probably whispering in his ears right now.
Yeah.
Who think that they have the creative ideas.
And who will churn on him on a heartbeat if he doesn't get the ratings they want.
Because it's pressure enough to start a show brand new and have it be your own thing and it's something you want. That's enough pressure. But then to do it in the shadow of something that already existed and where there's no way people aren't going to be comparing his performance to Jon Stewart, even no matter how much he changes the format or, he does his own delivery and talks about his own stuff.
He could be playing ping pong and they'd be like, Jon Stewart was. But here's the deal. Look at Colbert now. He looks like he's fucking running as fast as he can. He comes running out of the thing. He's doing a crazy dance.
Every single night.
And then fucking U2 come out for some reason. He's singing with them.
Yeah.
He sang with Pearl Jam the other night.
He loves
sang
to
with
sing.
fucking Paul Simon. And he's got that stupid theater voice.
I thought the dancing thing was just the first night because, hey, he's excited to be there. But when it started coming every single night, did you see him with Steph Curry? When Steph Curry came on and he started playing games with him?
Oh, God.
It was the fucking laundry game. And he busts out 2 laundry bags, hampers, and he's just shooting hoops with dirty laundry with Steph Curry. It broke my heart.
If I had to think about
It really did. I didn't think he was going to be playing fucking games on the show, like the other late night shows.
Because you used to
I
love
watched the Colbert Report every night.
Yeah.
And now it's something totally different.
Is it? Because I think he played this fucking self-centered guy as a character, and now you're saying he really is a self-centered guy.
Yeah.
The fact that he felt the need to sing, if you can't say to yourself, I have Paul Simon, I'm going to let him sing. If you think, but that's not enough entertainment, they need me out there. That's fucking crazy.
I would think that would be one of the benefits of that gig, to have a late night show or a variety show or something of that nature where you could be like, and now I bring out this act and they're going to entertain you. Like, you have the parts that you're responsible for and the rest is building a show of creative, interesting people. Doesn't that sound like it would be a fun thing to do?
I think they're going to take it further. I think he's going to have Louis C.K. or Amy Schumer or Chris Rock come out and do stand-up, and yet he's going to have the act with him, and he's going to stand next to him doing the lines with them.
He's going to pantomime whatever the jokes are.
And then when it gets to the punchline, he yells it. Nation, our baby is an asshole.
Yeah! Steven!
Start chanting Steven.
Chant it at me! Chant my name! Jesus.
So you've turned on Colbert.
I've still been watching it, but it's hurting me every night, every single night.
Could he win you back if he changes his ways?
I don't know at this point. I don't think so.
At least you're still watching, though.
Yeah.
I think you're the Stephen Colbert of this, because when you went over and started doing that show,
Smoking with Chris,
I saw, oh my God, he can't relax for a second. Go back and watch your manic attitude.
I did.
You put your hands on a producer and pushed him.
It was called Smoking with Chris, not Smoking with Joe.
That is a pretty good title, though.
Actually, I'm thinking about Smokey Joe's Cafe.
No.
Like the sound of that.
So it's coffee, smoking, everything.
No, when we do the GPS show, the music show this week.
Can't wait.
And we're doing it about Detroit.
Thrilled. I cannot wait for this.
So, Saturday it premieres 3 p.m. ET on Deep Tracks 27, and then replays all weekend long. We'll tweet out every time that it's on, but we're all excited about it. We're already planning our next special.
I know. Very excited about that one.
Yeah, me too.
No spoilers, but I'm excited.
I should give out a couple spoilers.
Okay.
We sing along with the songs. It's a heartache. Crazy. So tonight, Trevor Noah, and this is up on the iBang, mistakes that that the iBang doesn't want to see him make.
Okay.
All right, let's try it without even reading now. Joey Jojo, who, by the way, I'm not even sure if Joe wrote up something about Brian Regan, recently picked up by the Inquisitor. So, Joey Jojo,
Very nice.
syndicated columnist.
Yeah, add that to the resume, folks.
All right. Now, I want you to... Wait, I just remembered. Joe always goes for the fucking joke for some reason. So, you're going to be last, Joe?
I'll be last.
Gail, you want to go first?
Okay.
What could he do wrong?
I think that the iBang's going to say the thing that he could do wrong is try too hard to be similar to Jon Stewart, to try to recreate any of his similar bits.
So you would
segments.
step away from that?
I think it's going to be difficult for that comparison to happen and you two come out looking good.
But here's the thing. When you, let's say when you do any other show, like you take over Sports Center,
right?
Big show. You keep all the elements in the show.
Right.
You don't get rid of them. Yeah.
True.
And those people, by the way, didn't invent. Sports Center is the star. By the way, here's a major mistake. Look at the new logo. Don't like it at all.
Let me see this logo.
No, the logo, Chris, what a logo is. So put in Daily Show, Trevor Noah logo.
Logo is important to a show. It's giving you the feel. Let's see, what do we got going on here?
It's not coming up. Not even on the website.
It's at the bottom of the iBang story. Yeah. See that giant thing you said never came up?
No.
It just says TDS and 2 stars. It looks like a Russian fucking
propaganda
plate.
It does, yeah. Or like a DC comic.
Right.
insignia.
Remember how like Pizza Hut tried to call themselves the Hut?
Yeah.
or Kentucky Fried Chicken just start calling themselves KFC? Are we really getting rid of the Daily Show and you're watching TDS?
If he says that, I'm going to feel bad. Like, Trevor, it's called the Daily Show. There's no need to...
I know this wasn't his idea, though.
Yeah. It's a marketing team or whatever at part of... Look, it's a different show. So
what could he do wrong, Chris?
I've read he's going away from the Fox News and CNN stuff and going he's going to concentrate more on the BuzzFeed, Snapchat types, social media, young person stuff. He can't go too heavy on that.
So you think that's going to distance the audience because most of the audience was interested in political conversation and political humor. Yeah.
Not who's Snapchatting.
And that's his way of trying to be himself. Like, hey, we're kids. We don't care about that old school media. Oh, let's see. Somebody to make fun of BuzzFeed. I think that happens by every human being.
Yeah.
Even the people who read it constantly yell, this sucks.
I mean, I understand there's like the biggest website or whatever, but it still kind of feels like punching down. It doesn't feel, it's an easy target at the very least. There's nothing controversial about saying, oh my God, BuzzFeed quizzes are dumb. Everybody makes that joke.
First of all, I know for a fact that's not what Simpson's character I would be. And there's no science to this whatsoever. All right, let me go to Dan, who doesn't trash bits as fast as Joey Jojo does. Because Joey would be like, I think you should smoke a pipe. And that just stops the conversation. Dan cares about, let's face it, Dan sold a major show up in Montreal.
Yep.
He was the hit of Montreal. He learned French. And you're putting out a French cartoon right now.
That's right.
What would be a major mistake for him?
I think the opposite of what Gail was saying, that he might try too hard to invent a totally new thing right off the bat and feel like I can't cover politics, I can't do anything that would have me be compared to Jon Stewart.
Yeah. I agree. I think that would be a major mistake.
Right.
That get that format, figure it out, and then start to put your own stamp on
But you think even within the same bits and segments that he used, you think that still would be...
Yeah, I think you should use the correspondence. I think you should keep... I think everything should be laid out the same way. They act like they want him to do even less on the show because he's not going to have that editorial arm that Jon Stewart has. And I don't have a problem with that because he hasn't earned it yet. But I also don't think you want him doing sillier shit. I also think it's weird that they got him in the suit. You know what I mean? I don't think he wore those suits on stage.
No, he didn't. He just wore like regular clothes when he was never doing stand up. But it's going to be really weird to watch this without Stewart behind that desk.
Stand up has very little to do. It's always funny to me when they're like, "Oh, a stand up person is best to do this," because when you're a stand-up, you try not to do too much cheesy stuff and make it look normal. And it's exactly what broadcasting is. Right. A good broadcaster, like you could take somebody who's a good broadcaster and does hard news and put them at a parade and you won't go, oh my God, this is terrible.
Because it's selling the story.
Yeah. Now, the other day when the Pope got to Philly, I had on MSNBC, and they had that fucking idiot, that pale prick. They call him Tweety. I don't know what his actual name is.
Chris Matthews?
Yeah, so Chris Matthews is on there. And quite frankly, talking like a fucking maniac for hours. And, he just started saying, bringing up Kevin Bacon's name and stuff like that.
Okay.
And he brought up, he's like, he'll be staying tonight out on the main line where the richer people live. And we're talking about a Lower Merion, a Radnor, Bella Kinwood fits into that, Upper Darby where Liz Lemon grew up. And I'm like, Upper Darby is not even for a fucking second.
No.
But he talked about the main line for 40 minutes and brought up whatever celebrities came from different neighborhoods. And he was crazy. He was out of his mind and I'm yelling at the TV and yet I couldn't turn it off. So I'm going to say, don't be like fucking Chris Matthews.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't, I can't imagine the heat that this has got to deal with.
He's also going to be pulled in so many directions. Like, I feel like it's one of those things where he's going to have about 50 people who think that they know what's best for him, and he's going to have to sort through a lot of conflicting advice.
Yeah. I don't know how it's going to happen. I'm going to be pulling for the kid though, because I like him. I think he's a really nice person. I think he's a funny dude. But it's a tough thing. It's a tough thing to take over. Now the thing is, if you get through it, he can end up doing that job for the next 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
And still have his weekends free. It's only a 4-day-a-week job. Yeah. Well, everyone's like, we work so hard to do this. Really? It's a half an hour a night, 4 days a week.
22 minutes.
22 minutes.
It's a big staff, and there's guests.
Yeah. Six of it is George Clooney coming out.
And correspondents out there.
We got to go over something that's, it's just actually blown up on the launch pad for us. And that is this year's Highlander contest. We're down to how many before this weekend?
6. We were down to 6 before Thursday Night Football.
6 people before Thursday Night Football. Remember, 3 weeks ago, we started with 60 brilliant comedians. We're down to 6. Thursday night, Lisa Lampanelli jumped in on a Thursday night and for some reason took the Redskins. She absolutely did take the Redskins. And she's out of it. Jamie LaSalle picked the Eagles. He's a big winner. Tom Rhodes picked the Patriots. Big winner. Please turn that off. Casey Balsam took the Patriots. Big winner. Bridget Everett.
Oh, boy.
Took the Steelers. Big winner. And Don Jameson took the Lions. Big loser. So that leaves us 4. Jamie LaSalle, one of your favorite people of all time.
I adore. I'm so happy he's sticking around.
Tom Rhodes, my friend for decades. Bridget Everett, who we love, and just released some pictures of her and Amy Schumer frolicking on the beach, and it looks like some island paradise.
She treats her friends well. They're always doing something fun.
I know, something far away fun.
How do I get in on this?
Well, you missed that boat. Try to pay attention to the next one that's leaving the docks. Joey, I want you to have the music ready every day. I don't want this to come as a panic that we sometimes do music.
Okay.
All right. And then Casey Balsham, who, is that her name? Balsham?
Balsham. Casey Balsham.
Who I've never met in my life.
She could steal this whole thing.
She picked the Patriots, which was a big smart move. Patriots on their way to being 700-0. Coming up a little later on in the show, a guy I honestly picked to win it all today, Mike Vecchione. He's doing our show today, and I think he's doing Red Eye tonight, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Nice.
Yeah. He's a very, very funny man. Why don't we break here? We're right back. Bennington Show. It's a Bennington Show. And we've just been talking about the fact that we have a music special coming out, already recorded, that we're pretty excited about. It is called GPS. It's about us going and looking at certain scenes in music, and we pick out the Motor City, Detroit, to kick this off after quite a bit of talk.
Yeah. And then that's going to be Saturday at 3 p.m. on Deep Tracks 27.
Looking forward to it. It's going to run, get replayed plenty of times there. I saw the Twitter where people were excited about it, but we were amazed how great the first show came out. And I still haven't heard the imaging that goes on. Matter of fact, I thought I was supposed to cut something.
We have something to cut for you today after the show.
Well, what is it? Let me
it's
see it.
a promo, and then
promo is not what I'm concerned with.
I was talking with the Deep Tracks gentleman on Friday, and he's putting together imaging, and I'm going to be listening to that today and tomorrow.
So there's nothing for me to cut at the beginning of the show?
Nothing for you to cut at the beginning, no.
Okay. Why are you going to be listening to it?
Just to make sure everything sounds copacetic.
Yeah, but your rock background in this business, you've never worked at a rock station.
No, I haven't.
Odd.
This is going to be my first rock job as well.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Joe, you ever worked in the world of rock?
I've rocked out, but I haven't worked in the world of rock.
Well, this is all be new for you. So I'll just say this as a veteran, as I hold my glass up. For those about to rock, we salute you.
Cheers.
Fire. And I yell, fire. The cannon goes off. I think probably the coolest lyric ever. For those about to rock, we salute you.
We put our hands to our head and salute.
Chris Stanley has a big story he wants to talk about.
I was reading the paper this morning, and coming to New York City is a brand new app called the Jack Pocket, where you can buy lottery tickets on your app.
Oh, no.
I bought some today already, and it already feels bad because now I can just buy lottery tickets whenever I want. I don't have to go to a bodega. I don't have to do anything else. And the way this thing works, I was reading about it, they get the orders in and they send their courier team out to buy lottery tickets. They scan them and send them back to you.
This seems dangerous.
In what way?
It seems a little too easy. It's just like the same thing with the idea of betting on football, betting on horses, doing it through your phone. It's just.
So you guys are saying you want less freedom?
Not saying that. I'm just saying the temptation, I think, is going to be.
Oh, they shouldn't have bottles of alcohol that we could have at our house. Temptation is your responsibility to deal with. No one else's. This is no different than if you blame a girl for wearing a short skirt and of course something happened to her. The lottery ticket itself is not dangerous. You could easily say, oh my God, why would the bodegas have this? Why not only have a lottery down in Atlantic City where you have to walk into a casino and get it?
I also don't trust them because, all right, say, all right, Powerball.
Well, you say you don't trust them. You just bought it.
Yeah, I know.
Why did you buy something you don't trust?
Well, I bought it before I really thought about it. And then, all right, so these.
This is what I was talking about.
Yeah.
About dangerous. Now you understand my point.
No. I always understood. My point is, it's his fucking responsibility, not mine. You know the increase of lottery tickets I'm going to buy with this app? 0. It increases 0 for me. I'll buy the same amount of lottery tickets as I always have.
0% lottery tickets?
Sometimes I chip in on the $800 billion one.
Sure. On Christmas, I get some scratch-offs. It's a good present.
So Powerball's up to 300 million. So I figured I might as well jump in. Now, all right, so these people are buying the tickets. Then they're scanning them and sending them to you. If they hit on the if they sell the $300 million ticket, it doesn't seem like there's much to stop them from just cashing that thing out and skipping town altogether.
Wait, hold on. There's got to be. Okay, hold on. Yeah. There's got to be a way that they couldn't do that.
I didn't read the terms of service on the actual app, but it seems like this is something that could go down.
You have your numbers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know what you have.
Them.
Yeah, but I don't have the physical ticket. They scan it and send you. They're holding the ticket for you. They send people out to like stores or whatever. They buy, however many tickets they,
But don't you have to, isn't there an exchange of identification of some sort when you have to receive your winnings, when you claim your winnings?
If it's under $600, over $600, excuse me. That's when the IRS gets involved.
So it seems like then only small crime would be possible then.
I don't trust them.
What's to stop them from, you do trust them. You made the purchase.
Yeah.
You don't trust them now that you've thought about it.
Yeah, now that I have my virtual lottery tickets.
It seems like if you have the scan and this thing is legal, right?
Yeah.
If not, the state of New York would have to step in. So they owe you the money. That's your money. Those are your numbers.
I've always heard of things getting weird with lotteries where people will try to cash tickets in, that weren't theirs.
Has it ever worked out?
That I'm not 100% aware of.
Because it would seem like the same defenses would be in play here.
I think you might be right. I think that there's got to be a system of protection.
Now,
not that I'm saying I trust this thing 100%, but
all you're asking now is to pay somebody to go to the store for you. There's no other value to this whatsoever. right?
No, none at all.
How far are you from a place that you could buy your lottery ticket?
There's one actually inside the building I live in. Like there's a store.
And what is the fee that you're paying for the guy to go pick up?
As of right now, it looks like I'm not paying any fee, so I'm not
Then
sure how.
why
they're
would that
making money.
work, Chris?
No.
It's a free
Did
service.
they get a percentage of your winnings?
That I didn't say they get a percentage of the winnings.
Why did you feel the need that you wanted to bring up this story when your knowledge of it is next to zero? Now, the guys in the other room, I'm looking up there at Dan and Joe and Jamban, and they're all like just, what are they doing? They're just pounding their hands on the table. What are they saying, Chris? Can you hear it? Gossip, gossip, we want gossip, 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 we want gossip, gossip, gossip.
Okay, settle down. I've got some gossip for you guys. A little gossip from the comedy world. A certain Twitter user, I won't say his name, but let's just say he's very generous with the smokes, says that these two comedians have hooked up officially with a ring, if you know what I mean. I won't say who it is, but let's just say she's on his list.
Oh, Joe List.
Wow.
Engaged.
That's right. Is it true? I don't know.
I'm not comfortable with the gossip that goes on at this camp.
Wow.
I really aren't.
Didn't expect this.
There's a certain new producer who's giving all the kids flat dreams. What? I can't be held accountable for whether or not it's truth. But that's what I hear.
People are saying it's not free. Charlie, go ahead.
Ronnie B, how come playing the number from the racetrack, the last three digits of the total racetrack winnings, how come that died in New York? That was so popular for so long.
Well, it's when it became legal.
Oh, okay.
It used to be that used to be the number, which, by the way, used to be a job that, let's say, if you were in Harlem, black people ran the number,
Sure.
right? Local black people. If you were in the Lower East Side, Jewish people would run the number. If you were in Little Italy, Italian local guys would do it. That would be their money.
Right.
Then the state stepped in and destroyed that business, basically.
Oh.
But yeah, before you could legally do it, it was called playing the number, and it would be played off of the last three of the racetrack. A guy would walk around the neighborhood. You'd bet with him, do your number, and that would be it. And it would be a living for some people.
I always think that it's strange, though, that the way it seems like people want to get involved with taking away whatever, sinful, vice it is. They think that there's protection, but then they seem to decide which ones are okay and which ones are not. Like the OTBs are gone in New York. You cannot you cannot go to an OTB. There is no OTBs. They've all been shut down. But then we can have an app where we buy lotto tickets, or you can go online and get
that's why the OTBs are gone.
Right.
Online killed it.
Yeah, they were losing money. All the OTBs are open to say we're losing a lot of money.
Yeah, but I thought that the OTBs were actually I thought OTBs were closed by Giuliani as a vice thing.
No.
It had nothing to do with that?
It's because they were losing money. That was the straight up reason.
Now, you could easily say, why is a casino legal but a floating crap game isn't legal? Why, if you go and play at one place, is poker legal and you go and play at another guy? You could say, why is it okay if I buy lumber from Chris, but I can't buy moonshine whiskey from Chris? Those are the types of things you could discuss all the time. Why is pornography legal and prostitution illegal?
Right.
When it sure looks like an act of prostitution has taken place, people are getting paying money for sex.
Exactly. Yes.
And so that's your legal system. That's the thing of what people are willing to accept at one point and not another. Why are you ever okay with people telling you whatever behavior that you enjoy doing and other people don't? That's just it, That's the whole fucking game that we sit around and we play every election. But Chris is a perfect thing of government. Here's a guy who gambles, who already got the app, and now he's saying, how can this be right? This makes it too easy. You don't want your life to be easy? You want your life to be hard? What do you want to do? Have to fucking climb a gym rope to put a fucking bet in? Is that what it takes for you to take responsibility for yourself? I got no problem with this. I think people could sit and fucking gamble all day. I wish they'd make an app that fucking heroin would come out of and then people could do heroin. Again, how can we sit around and say, okay, people can drink alcohol, but you can't do fucking heroin? It's ridiculous to me.
Well, that's one of the most bizarre and the hypocrisy of that, especially when you think about the way pharmaceuticals are handled in this country, and then you look at something like marijuana or any drug that causes no harm other than the fact that it's illegal.
Even if it causes harm, who gives a fuck?
But I mean, causes harm unto others. So it's like your own adult decision of, to take this because that's what you feel like doing, just like any other decision you would make about drinking or smoking or whatever. You're taking your health into your own hands. But the only harm that comes from it is, what it takes to get it to you because it's illegal.
All right, this thing that you got, it's called Jack Pocket.
Jack Pocket.
Ew.
That sounds like
it's a bad name. It's a really bad name.
It's not, no, it's been around for 2 years, and there's a 10% on this thing. And I'm not able to tell yet whether it's 10% of the winnings or 10% of the cost of the ticket. But it isn't free. The app, getting the app is free.
But it's just new to New York now? It's just now that it's available here? Or?
This is the first time I've ever heard of it, so that's why I thought it was new. That's why I'm using it presently.
That's why you're jackpocketing?
That's why I'm jackpocketing. You think they could call it Lotto Friend instead of Jackpocket?
I think Jackpot is...
Jackpocket is your nickname, dude.
Jackpocket is that thing when you cut a hole in your pocket.
Oh, yeah.
Jackpocket.
We've all had a jackpocket at different times. Sometimes it's a mistake. Just if I can reach in your pants and find out you got a jackpocket.
Bonus.
Don't put any money in there, but jackpocket. All you want. Coming up a little later on in the show, it's literally one of our favorite guests, the great Mike Vecchione, is stopping by. When Gaffigan went to Philly to open for the Pope, he did a joke about Santa Claus. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, people in Philly cannot handle this anymore. And they were mad at him, and they wrote shit about it.
Well, it's a joke that's been around for a long time, and I think it's possible that Philly is just a little tired of that.
Philly got mad at that other guy for saying that there's racism in Philly too. Right. I'm like, wait, you did fucking throw snowballs at Santa Claus. It happened. You got to live with it. Everyone gets mad at the people in the South. Was like, stop bringing up Jim Crow laws. No, it's pretty big.
We can't. We just can't.
And Philly, what was when the Cowboys just played the other day? They were fucking clapping when somebody got fucking hurt.
When Romo.
Oh, yeah, okay. So it was Romo got hurt. People were still applauding when he was laying on the ground.
Yay, a man's injured.
The head coach of the Texas Texans says, don't go on Hard Knocks. Don't let Hard Knocks do your team. We hated it.
He said he would not recommend to any coach, team, or player to ever go anywhere near this TV show because of the constant nonstop cameras in their face as they're trying to build a fucking game plan, a season.
So what's the upside of letting Hard Knocks go? There. Why they all agreed to it before?
I think the NFL now makes teams do it.
They can't.
Now, how long do they follow them? Is it
or they do the Patriots? They do it throughout their preseason.
Oh, okay.
You watch players get cut, and it's really I'll click the channel when they call a guy in. Hey, Bob, coach wants to see you. Oh. And that big fucking lump just walks down there knowing that while he's wearing gym shorts, his dreams are going to be taken away.
That's heartbreaking.
First of all, give me the iPad with all the plays on it. Bob, you're a great guy. Everybody likes you here. You're just not good enough to live your dream. Now, the guy with the locker next to yours is going to be set for the rest of his life. We're giving him $62 million.
Guaranteed.
You're probably going to end up either a bouncer at some fucking dive bar or helping people unload the trucks over at Walmart.
Maybe we could both stay on the team. We could just split it down the middle.
Dude,
Maybe
you
I
have
could
a
get the
better chance of
32.
hitting jackpocket this summer than you do of making any fucking money at all in football. Now, if it means anything to you, you probably would just ran through that money and be broke in 2 years anyway.
So you're better off not having it. No team's ever done well off coming off a season of Hard Knocks.
Well, have any good teams ever done it?
I think there was some heat behind the Bengals, but they went out in the first round of the playoffs like they usually do. I mean, that might have been the most.
So your point
team.
is you got to be a Super Bowl team before this matters.
Yeah, I mean that's what we want to watch.
You got to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Well, you got a 1 in 32 chance, and even if you know the game, you got a 1 in 8. Nobody picked the Patriots to win last year, even though they're a strong team. So, what do you get out of it? I mean, the real thing of it is like you think to yourself, well, this is a game I wouldn't want to play. Fucking hurts. You spend all your time being taped up. You're sweating. Guys are yelling at you. Even coaching looks like a fucking nightmare. Oh, that Jets coach's kid got in some trouble, right?
Yeah, the tight ends coach for the Jets. His son started tweeting out, Geno Smith is a bum ass. And then he started tweeting out pictures of Antonio Cromartie's 2 of his 15 children and started basically saying these guys got too many kids.
He has 15 kids?
He has 15 kids, yeah.
He does?
He has 15 children, Antonio Cromartie, yeah.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Yeah, he gets around.
That's a lot of kids.
Doesn't like condoms.
How old is he?
His 30s. He's not old.
30s? Wait. How much work is he doing?
He's 31. Tallahassee.
He's 31 and he's got 15 kids. How many women?
I believe 8 or 9 from the last time I read about his his kids.
This dude's busy.
John House tweeted this, Jack Pocket. Isn't that what Stanley calls his sweatpants? Captain Dick says, all I know is I will listen to anything #Gossip Girl says. #Bennington. So Joe List engaged.
Engaged.
To?
Miss, or should I say Mrs.?
No, you can say Miss.
Okay,
They're not married yet.
All right, got it.
I like Ms.
Ms.
Is that still around?
Yeah, sure. Ms. Sarah Tolamash. That's the gossip.
Tim says, please tell me that Hicks isn't going to be producing the show about music. He did. It's basically supposed to be piecemeal together, right?
Yes.
We play our music, then it has to be piecemealed in different places.
Yeah, into VO voiceover for those not.
Well, I'm not doing voiceover. I want to listen to the music and talk about it. I don't want to just start talking about the music like a voiceover person without listening to it. That's fucking insane to me.
That's how we roll.
Yeah.
That's the only way I know.
It's got to turn into a fucking, seriously, T.O. fucking party.
And it did. And it always will.
People writing, how can you do the Detroit scene without doing Motown? I will tell you this. We do the Detroit scene in the fucking 60s and 70s and still don't mention Motown.
Yeah.
But let's be honest here. Who doesn't know about Motown? What American or English speaking earthling does not know the Motown story? We all know it.
Yeah.
But there's more Detroit music. The Detroit rock scene has been fucking amazing.
And I love the idea of the rock scene and the Motown scene happening simultaneously. Like they bled into each other in a lot of ways.
Do you think they did, or were they separate but equal?
No, I think that there was. I think that with some artists in particular, there was some bleed over. There was, there's no way not to be influenced.
It's interesting. That should come up during GPS. Mm-hmm. So we're playing that this weekend
on Deep Tracks, Channel 27, 3 p.m. this Saturday premieres.
3 p.m. East.
3 p.m. in the East.
Wayne says, to be exempt from Hard Knocks, you've had to have appeared in the last 10 years, have a new head coach, or made the playoffs in the last 2 years. So they're literally looking for non-playoff teams, Chris.
Okay. Now that makes a lot more sense.
I never gave it any thought. I would figure, like most things in life, if the Patriots or Packers wanted it, they would get it. If the Steelers wanted it, they would get it. I would thought that those teams are like, look, we're doing things the way we want to. Don't bring Hard Knocks around here. They had a bad fucking weekend there over there in Pittsburgh. Big Ben. It was an MCL, which is not ACL, but they still said 4 to 6 weeks, and then other people are saying even longer. But they got Mike Vick taken in.
Mike Vick is going to do it all. He led them to no points after he came into the game.
They held. There's most you can ask for. And now he's going to get a week to learn the playbook, so that's good. They got Le'Veon Bell back.
I think that entire team's been fucking about Roethlisberger, period, for the last 10 years. Here's Danny in Chicago.
Hey, Ron, how are you? Happy Monday. Listen, I got a friend of mine whose son graduated University of Chicago.
Okay.
And I was talking to him, asking about his kid, real smart young man. And I said, what's your kid up to? And he's like, well, he's working for the NFL right now with the Chicago Bears. And I said, what's he doing? He goes, well, a lot of these kids that come to summer camp with the Bears and trying to make the team, a lot of them have difficulty understanding the playbook. So he's assigned a player, and they have to understand the playbook and have the ability to make sure that that player understands it. And they stick with them if they feel that this is going to be problematic. And it was really some interesting insight that I didn't know NFL did.
Well, it only makes sense. I mean, a lot of times in a movie, you've got to hire a dialogue coach. There's plenty of actors who go with an acting coach so that they go up privately, stay in tune, and get back. I would not. I think I would find it incredibly complex to try to follow an NFL playbook. First of all, it's happening in real time, and the play could be changed seconds later, and it's very, very complex. The blocking assignments, routes, defenses are complex these days.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous, and these playbooks are gigantic of the stuff they need to know. If you see a quarterback's arm, even that band, you can see the writing of that. There's dozens and dozens of plays on his arm.
Guys that have been in the game for years.
Yeah.
Into the game for years are doing that. So, no, I'm not surprising. And I also don't think it makes those players dumb because let me tell you something. You'd rather have a natural athlete on your team than a really smart guy.
Right. True.
Football is not a thing. I mean, it's great if you're highly athletic and smart. But if you have to choose between the two, take the athlete. Look at that fucking play yesterday with the Jets. A guy who's been playing the game for years tries to pitch the ball back into a crowd. You're out of your mind to fucking do something like that.
And that guy, Pro Bowler, Brandon Marshall, just ridiculous.
Yeah. He's not like a young guy, right?
No.
And basically closed the game down for the Jets. I mean, at that point, the Eagles honestly went into some almost prevent offense.
Yeah, they slept through that second half.
Yeah, they were just like, if we don't do anything, we will win this. This fucking entire offense is built on speed, and they were working the clock for 2 quarters.
Yeah.
It was terrible to watch on TV.
It was very exciting first half, and then the second half, I was like, what's going on?
Knowing that they were going to give up points, just not enough points that they would lose.
Yeah.
They said, we'll probably give up about 21 points here if we play this way.
Good enough, though, for right now.
That's all we need to get out of here. Look, you're destroying the other guy, right? Let's suppose you're boxing. You're fucking out in the 3rd round. You've knocked this guy down 3 times. He's bleeding. You come back and your fucking cornerman says, stay away from him for the rest of the fight. Take some shots. Keep your hands up and just let him fucking hit you on the forearms, get in body shots. Just don't get knocked out.
We're up on points. It's great. Those knockdowns are going to be huge.
Stay away from him.
Just run. Just run around the ring.
tie him up, and hold on to him. And that's what the second half of that game was like.
It was pretty snoozy.
What's the game tonight, Chris?
Tonight's game is Packers. It's Packers Chiefs. Chiefs and Packers.
Okay, Chiefs and Packers.
Line is 5.5.
You know, when you say Chiefs and Packers, it sounds a little bit like cheese and crackers. I'm just going to say that for the first time ever. And I believe that this is a replay of Super Bowl number 1. I think this is the first Super Bowl, which was cheese and crackers. Now, by the way, I didn't even know that this existed until this came up in the game yesterday because I'm watching Eagles Jets. The Jets have never beat the Eagles in the history of their franchise.
Yeah, I heard them say that, and I was shocked by that.
I didn't think there was anyone left that somebody hasn't beaten at least once. They've only played 10 times, and the Eagles beat them, are up 10-0 now.
Nice. Jets fans look like shit.
Why would the Jets fans look like shit? They have nothing
The
to do.
organization looks like crap.
No, none of that. It's just a weird anomaly.
But yeah, it's not something that would be obvious, that's for sure.
Here's Matt in Missouri.
Oh, and I was curious, I can't think of any, are there very many NFL players who have been traded or released from one team and then only to go back and play for the same team again, like, years later?
Well, I don't know. Has anybody ever been back to retire with their team?
Fran Tarkenton with the Vikings. He came back.
Oh.
He started as a Viking?
I believe so.
Went to the New York Football Giants.
And then he came back to the Vikings.
And was he successful for them on their second run?
We went to a Super Bowl when he came back.
I would consider that. What about Craig Morton? Wasn't he a Cowboy left and back? Maybe I'm wrong about that.
Well, I know that,
No, went to the Broncos.
It's common for some players to be traded, and then when they retire, they on paper they go back to their old team just so they can retire.
Yeah, I know some of those veterans too. You kind of won on the team because they're a guy on the field teaching the young guys as well. All right, Joey, send yourself into the big ass prize closet.
All right,
good prize closet for the Fran Tarkington.
I'm gonna do it.
That's a really good answer. What did you end up winning? The Gronk ball?
Today, I ended up winning the Gronk ball. Yeah,
No, you didn't win it. It's for Highlander.
Who do you think did better on the show the other night, Joey or Dan? I didn't get enough Dan on screen the way I was looking for.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say because there was not enough Dan. It was not balanced. Joe was.
Was there a reason that you never held the phone for Dan?
Well, he had more data, is what it comes down to.
Okay.
For Periscope.
But couldn't you turn around and hand him the...
Yeah. Well, we were switching off.
Oh, you were?
Yeah. And he was doing some interviews. I was doing some interviews.
There was a lot of interviews. It was great.
Now, would you guys rather do this as a team or separately?
No, we did this as a team. Joint
What
effort.
about the future?
Oh, in the future, team.
Okay.
Great team.
Because I was thinking maybe you could do some Dan from some of your comedy clubs.
Well, that would be fun.
Which now means Joe has to go to comedy clubs. Well, Joe, you've tried stand-up too, right?
Yes, I have.
Have you ever gotten out of the basement in Gotham? Have you ever done any of these other rooms?
I did the upstairs at Gotham once. I opened up for a friend
But
there.
it's just Gotham for you.
Yeah, pretty much. And Eastville. I've done Eastville before.
Okay. How come you never go with Dan on any of his runs?
Yeah. Take him under your wing, Dan.
Rest.
No, Joe's welcome anytime, and we can do it.
Are you embarrassed of him in front of your comedy friends?
Not at all. I introduced Joe to a couple comics that we ran into, or friends of mine, and I feel like we wouldn't have gotten pizza if we were alone. That was a together thing. A couple gave us pizza live on Periscope.
Yeah, I watched that.
That was cool.
That was
They were
one
nice
of my
people. Yeah.
favorite parts.
Yeah. And that one girl was just so proud of Brian. It was just like, Brian, I'm like, what does she think? Brian's on Periscope before the show?
Brian, I just want to say.
What did you think was better? The boys at Brian Regan, or Chris?
Wow.
Let's suppose you and I are Periscope network executives.
Okay.
We got to pick one show that we get behind in our new fall season.
Smoking with Chris.
I'm gonna have to say, Smoking with Chris. Probably, I would go behind that. And you know what? These guys are part of the crew on that. That was.
Well, yes, I saw one of them get yelled at and the other get pushed.
Sure, I'd like to see less pushing if I'm going to pick this show up.
I'm going to be honest here. From a broadcasting point of view, it's not even close. The boys beat him.
Okay.
There was more action. Food being eaten, smoking going on.
Tips? You see what I tipped?
Heart, yes.
He's very proud of the tip.
Yes. You not being able to keep money in your pocket. Shocking. But if, let's say, those two guys, it reminded me of the first year of American Idol, where two young broadcasters went out there together, and only one came back for season 2.
I'd be interested, maybe, for them to be a guest, like to be guests on Smoking with Chris. Maybe not enemies, production enemies.
Why were you yelling and pushing them?
So I was trying to keep the whole production under wrap.
Physical strength? With brute strength?
Is that what we do? Who's ever the biggest guy?
That's how you get a show.
When you have to physically shove someone, it does mean that you're not in charge. They do not respect you if you have to break it down and start shoving people.
Well, it's first episode.
So we're being shown off right now like we're zoo animals. It's always nice.
Hey.
Should I eat this banana?
Jesus, I wish we did have a banana. I could use the potassium.
Start throwing things at the window.
Your own shit.
Hey, he's got a banana over there. You always have fruit with you wherever you go, Den?
No, that's Joe's. He keeps it every day and never has it.
Really?
It's a waste of a banana.
True.
I do notice you're very
All right.
snacky.
After the gossip broke, Joe List just tweeted, just got engaged. First 50 people to retweet get an invite to the wedding. So, folks, start retweeting immediately.
Yeah.
Get that thing up and then retweet our retweet.
Retweet it. We're talking about retweets, not favorites. Retweet.
God, I want to go to this wedding.
I'll tell you this. I'll say the same thing I say at every wedding. I give them 5 years.
5 years.
That's all we've got. Standing in the market square. So many lovers crying. We should do that. It's for Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Although, remember, does anybody know Bowie's Detroit song?
He does have a Detroit song.
He does have a Detroit song.
No.
Suffragette City?
No.
Yes, Suffragette City is Detroit. Come on.
Come on, dude.
No, this makes me not even feel friends with any of you guys. A lot of people forget about Panic in Detroit.
Panic in Detroit,
shit.
that's what it is. I knew it. Chris doesn't, but I did.
And this is Panic in Detroit. There was 50 people to retweet this, and I'll invite to Joe List's wedding.
Yes.
Make sure that you retweet Joe List and go to that wedding. I think it's going to be a who's who of comedy. All right, I'm going to say this. Joey, Joe, and Dan, here's your assignment. I'm going to give each of you 4 minutes to write a promo in your own voices of the new GPS show, starring the Bennington show. Yeah, have you guys had a chance to listen to it yet?
No, I haven't heard it yet.
I have heard it.
What do you think of it, Joe? Scale 1 to 10.
10.
Why so low? You now have 40 minutes, each of you. No, change that to 4 minutes. You have 4 minutes. God, listen to this part of the song. It's so great. All right, Jay Sherm says this. Chris says Bangles for Bengals and Bangton for Bennington. Somebody has trouble with his E's. Dan says, I'm sensing that GPS will have a heavy diet of MC5 and Iggy Pop. Hugh Ackman says Tarkington was the first player to pass for 4 TDs in his first NFL game, a record he held to this year. Who cares? Ben Jem says, tell your dad I love him, okay? Hashtag Bennington.
He loves you. You know that, right?
Nobody loves me, you know why? I'm unlovable.
Benjamin
I am
loves you.
somebody not worth love.
I mean, Benjamin.
Now we got to think of what is going to be our next one after Detroit. By the way, I think that the people of Detroit are going to be thrilled with this, and this will help them in their rebirth and their rebound that's going on. But obviously, we got to start thinking: is it going to be London?
Yes.
Is it New York? Is it Los Angeles? And what decade in Los Angeles?
I know a lot of these cities could have multiple episodes on each time period.
I know Stanley's not going to listen until we do Seattle in the 90s.
Please that next.
We might. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yes.
And there's some places that we should do more than just the city, should the state. Let's say Atlanta's great, but if you add all of Georgia, it gets even funkier.
Right. I think some place like Atlanta, yeah, you're going to have a couple, but I think it would be wise that it would be the state of Georgia.
And then some areas, should we just do like Midwest? Like get to that point.
Sure.
Now, if you were to do London, you're looking at quite a few different decades as well. What would be your favorite decade in London?
I think you're going to have to go London, like early mod 60s time. I think that's going to be
more than punk London, more than Brit pop London.
I think you're going to have to do that one first.
Chris?
70s punk London.
I would actually say 70s glam London blows away 70s punk London. I think the glam scene there was much fucking more fun than that latter day punk scene.
Yeah. The Latter Day Punks. It's a pretty cool name.
Yeah, I know. I would do it if I was a Mormon punk. But we're the Latter Day Punks. And oh, yeah, fuck your mother. Shocking. We don't have the promo yet. I'm expecting one in about 120 seconds.
I have time, and they're at 30 seconds right now.
Wow.
I'm going to give them a little more time because
Oh, that's so sweet.
I see Joe still trying to read.
He's still reading about the show.
Then he just walked by. He would have been the perfect guy. And if you were going to do New York, would you do New York in the 60s with the girl groups and the Brill Building? Would you do New York in the 70s? Or Chris's favorite time, New York in the 90s with Two Little Princes?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Please, can that be after?
My name's Chris Stanley, and I'm hanging out, really feeling good. Chris Stanley is on. L.A., would it be, the Birds, the Doors, and Love? Or would it be the 80s with the Eagles and, that whole scene, the Ladies of the Canyon?
I'm thinking maybe the Love.
No, wait, I went the wrong way. You get the 60s of that thing. Then you've got the 70s with the Eagles and Jackson Brown. Then the 80s with the hair bands.
Mm-hmm.
And do you count the bands that didn't grow up in L.A. Or that came to L.A.? Because you can probably say the same thing about London.
Yeah, and New York. I'm sure there was a lot of...
Nope. Everybody in New York was always just from here.
Born and bred. That's the rule.
And you get yourself into a Philly mood.
Mm-hmm. I do.
Is Deep Tracks ready for something quite so black? Howard Melvin and the Blue Notes fucking bringing it.
I hope they're open to that.
And do you think to yourself, do you pick something where people showed up to record, like a Muscle Shoals, which I think would be a fascinating show, but technically not a GPS?
Right.
What about Memphis? Where do you start and end in Memphis? You have Cash as part of that. Cash was on Sun Records.
Yeah.
Johnny Cash and Elvis were on the same and Perkins and Jerry Lee, and nobody acted like the music was any different. No one acted like, oh, Cash is country and Jerry Lee is something else. They were all just considered performers at that time.
Yeah, I think you could do a Sun Records umbrella with all of them.
Yeah, but I wouldn't even leave it at Sun Records if I was going to Memphis. I'd have to have the Reverend Al Green in it.
Mm-hmm.
What's the name of that place that he recorded at? The place that he recorded is still there using the original board.
Right.
Everything. It's fucking phenomenal.
Royal Studios?
Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
Your typing has helped the show one more time.
Got it.
Anyway,
smart.
it's GPS coming up this week, and we got 2 new promos we're going to be playing. If you want to check out the premiere, it's Saturday, 3 p.m. on Deep Tracks 27, and then it'll replay over and over. Keep your Twitter, tweet it to the Bennington Show, and we'll let you know each time it's going down. All right, what do you got, Joe? You're going to go first.
Hi, I'm Joe Engelbrecht, and here on Bennington, we care about all things comedy, but we also share the affinity for rockin' and a rollin'. Join me as we set our dials towards Panic in Detroit, Rock City, birthplace to MC5, White Stripes, the Funk Brothers, and so much more. More than just Motown. GPS, Deep Tracks on Sirius XM, the great bands of the Great Lakes.
Well, first of all, Joe Engelbrecht, I was not expecting the beginning of it to be all about you, but I felt like it fucking really kicked in with the great bands of the Great Lakes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the writing's
Strong.
there.
Even though we're just focusing on one lake.
Yeah, just one very particular lake. But still,
One lake.
one special lake.
Wait, that made me think of his hometown, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Minneapolis right there. It's St. Paul.
Yeah, I don't know if there's enough in Minneapolis.
Prince, Replacements, Husker Du.
Right?
Okay.
Need 9 more.
Okay. I'll come up with a list.
Here's more Prince. What about Mr. Bob Dylan is from Minnesota?
He is.
Did you forget?
Yeah, he's from Hibbing. He grew up in Hibbing on the Iron Range.
Okay.
Cool.
I make everything sound scary. Grew up on the Iron Range. There was a guy that I knew, and he was from Texas, right? And he was telling me, and this was years ago, and he was like, I hadn't seen my daddy in 20 years. He's buried out somewhere on the plains of West Texas. And I'm like, most people don't get to say things that crazy. Instead of feeling sorry for yourself, to have your daddy buried somewhere out in West Texas. All right, Joe, you got a lot to beat. So when Dan comes in to do this, let's give him your full attention. Dan, your GPS voiceover track. Go.
Hi, I'm Dan Perlman from The Bennington Show. Ron and Gail Bennington cover all things comedy 5 days a week, but now they're adding a 6th day and officially branching out to music. Join them as they break down the Detroit rock scene for GPS. If you love Detroit rock, this is the show for you. If you haven't heard Detroit rock, this is a great place to start. If you've heard some of Detroit rock and you're not sure how you feel about it, some you like, some you don't like, then let Ron and Gail convince you. This Saturday, October 3rd, for the premiere of GPS on Deep Tracks, Channel 27.
All right. I don't know why you guys feel the need to introduce yourself. Commercial artists never introduce. No. You guys see yourself as George Clooney doing a voiceover.
At first I had Joe's name, and then he said we each needed to have our own.
Chris, which one did you like better?
I like Joe's tagline at the end a lot.
Yeah, that's all you heard, the tagline. What about the rest of it?
I like the comedy of Dan's. It reminds people, don't forget.
Yeah.
We work in a realm of comedy as well.
There's laughs to be had.
All right, so I thought Dan also had a better voice for this, and he also felt like let them, convince you, which I thought was an interesting way to go with it, because this is not a one-sided conversation.
Mm-mm.
The audience is going to be involved.
And it's not the same old tracks you're used to.
No, that's true. The show's going to be something else. We're going to break here. When we get back, Mike Vecchione, Hizzle, you're going to love him. You already do love him. Holy shit, he's going to be performing at Brad Garrett's Comedy Club at the MGM Grand, Las Vegas, November 9th through the 15th. He's got a new album, Muscle Confusion, that's available now on iTunes. And I wonder if he knows that Joe List is getting married. We'll find out all more when we get back. The Bennington Show. Mike Vecchione in studio with us. You know, when I heard there was engagement today, I didn't think it was going to be Joe List. I thought it was going to be you.
Oh my God. Oh yeah, Joe. I did see that on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I talked to him. I had 3 spots with him this week, so he didn't mention anything. So I guess it was under lock and key.
Like they don't want you at the wedding.
Maybe that's what it is.
I think so. I think that's what it
Holy
is.
shit! That just made me think bachelor party.
Oh
You
yeah.
got to really go big with this.
Joe List.
Yeah.
Joe List bachelor party, but he's a clean guy. He doesn't drink, doesn't do anything. So how?
We'll see. Let's just see what happens at the bachelor party.
It's a challenge.
There's always got to be one night, even in the program. It's like just take one night.
They say that?
Yeah. The
But
part
then
that
you
I
got to
hate.
start back over again.
Yeah, and you get a nice white chip, and you know what I mean. I like to restart things.
And then they treat you well too, right? When you're
Yeah.
a newbie.
It's like restarting a relationship. It's always like, you know what? We're not going to make the same mistakes as we did last time. I'm dropping the C word when I get mad. I'm not going to say it to you. How long you been dating the same girl?
9 years, 8.5, 9 years.
Wow.
Now, you guys live how far from each other?
I'd say a 12-minute walk.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you have your own apartment?
Yes, I do.
Single, no roommates, right?
None. No.
What are you waiting for?
Waiting for leases to end pretty much. So, you know.
It's a 9-year lease.
It's a long lease. It's a big commitment.
So
He's
whose
functioning
lease
in
are you
dog
waiting
years.
to run out?
Her lease.
When's her lease over?
I think in like 6 or 7 months, something
So
like
you
that.
could be moving in together in
Possibly,
6, 7
yeah.
months.
Maybe
Wow.
that big 9-year step.
It's a big step.
Wow.
9 years. Shade under a decade.
Or you got to make an honest woman out of her and get married first.
That'd be crazy.
Jump right in. Traditional. You know what I mean?
That is.
Yeah. Do you think it won't last? Is that why you're not getting married? Why you move in?
No, I just think, you know, the marrying kind.
Really? But
I
it's
don't-
about
you.
9-year, and you're never with another woman, right?
No, of course, no.
You say, of course not, but then you just told us you're not the marrying kind.
Yeah, but why do you have to get married if you enjoy each other and you're having a good time? What's the point of the pressure of putting a marriage on?
To make the Pope happy.
Oh.
You didn't see the Pope in here the other day?
You know, I never thought about making the Pope happy.
By the way, you know how people were lined up 800 deep in the park and all over town and in Philly, sleeping out? Pope drove right past my house on the way out of town. I saw him waving 3-4 feet away from me. There was probably 12 of us standing there.
Wow.
He had a
All
perfect
together.
view.
Oh my God.
I saw him come into town, same way. I saw him leave town. No big deal. All you got to do is just not pay attention to where he's appearing
Yeah.
and just figure how does somebody get in and out of town.
He just shows up. If you don't focus on him, he just shows up wherever you are.
You would think, I guess, but you have to know the way a guy comes in and out of town. And I knew right away. I'm like, well, if he's going on the FDR, he's probably going to use my block. But leaving was really funny because it was early in the morning and no one was out there at all. And then when you got to Philly, there was just massive amounts of people.
Were the barricades still up when he was leaving?
Yeah, the barricade's never down.
Now, was he
You know-
blessing as he was going by
Yeah.
you?
So
Yeah.
he was blessed.
My mom said that this is the two things that my mom told me. Number one, here he is just waving out the window. I took this right after.
That's his arm.
That's his little fiat, but that's the Pope's arm. And you can see how close I am to him, 3 feet away. But my mom said not only was I blessed that he drove by, she said, you're blessed if he flies over in an airplane. She goes,
Wow.
if he flies over your house, you get a blessing. I'm like, wow, that's great.
So lucky.
Yeah, so I got 2 major Pope blessings. And did you see Gaffigan open for him?
Oh, you got to see that?
Yeah, Gaffigan, I mean, nothing against him, but he did go too long, and finally they just cut his mic.
That's
They're
really
like-
hilarious.
The Pope was like, what? He's milking this place.
They gave him the light.
And then he opened with, well, as we all know, 1 million of us showed up to see Gaffigan. Am I right? And then he goes like this, if you missed him tonight, you'll see him at the Chuckle Hut for the next 3 weekends. The place was going crazy.
Wow. How long did he do? Do you know?
I think he did about 20, you know, he
He
got
middled
up-
for the Pope.
Yeah,
That's
he
a great,
basically
it's great
middled.
to have on your resume.
Yeah. I think they put Aretha in between.
Hmm.
But
Right.
Aretha stayed out there for, I mean,
Yeah. She's.
but then they also showed Gaffigan that night, and he's sitting like 6 feet
I
away
know
from
he's on the
Pope.
Wow.
stage.
Yeah.
He's sitting next to the Pope, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's
Aretha was on
That's a
for
nice
a while
gig.
too.
Yeah. Well, the Pope was probably, he's murdering, and the Pope's probably, I got to follow this guy. Yeah. The Pope had to follow. He's a tough follow.
I saw that you're playing the MGM Grand.
Yeah.
Which I still think is the place to go.
I've never been there. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
is that
never
right?
Been.
It's one of those hotels that you could go there and stay there for a week without going outside. It's that massive.
I heard it's really nice.
How
is the outside? Because I've been to Reno before. That's where my career is.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Vegas, but I've been to Reno. And if you step outside that casino in Reno, it's like a meth head central.
The police are pretty hardcore in Las Vegas.
And it's pretty touristy. You stay on the strip. It's, you're getting.
Yeah, I mean, it's big money, so everybody's.
Yeah.
But, Reno just, even the name.
It's an outlaw town.
Yeah, it's Johnny Reno.
Sounds like a porn star.
Yeah, it does.
Johnny Reno.
It just seems like somebody could get fucking shot at any moment. Well, what was the Paul Thomas Anderson thing that took place there? It was his first movie, Heart 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just had that feeling of almost like a small town Ramada Inn that you could fucking throw dice at.
Yeah.
It was harsh. But I was out at MGM for a couple of fights. I was out there for the night that Tyson got his ear bit off. And that thing turned into, it was a dangerous spot out there that night.
Right.
But that was, that was the big place for a long time, MGM Grand. It was the first time that they opened up like a really huge venue that, the Who would stop at,
right. But how was that? I'm a huge boxing fan, so that must have been unbelievable. Floyd Mayweather just had his last fight, and he fights there all the time. So,
Yeah.
but the Tyson Holyfield thing must have been unbelievable.
I've said this before. The Tyson Holyfield thing, the excitement level was so high that you could have easily thrown up at any given moment before the fight started. I was just like, I hope I don't pass out before this fight happens. And it was the energy in that room of oh, ladies and gentlemen, here comes Eddie Murphy, here comes Jack Nicholson. The place there had to be 100 major stars that were being, here's Donald Trump, and went on like that for 10 minutes. And then to build up, because everybody's got money on it, everybody's excited. And when they started fighting, people went, I just felt like we went out of our minds. And people were just grabbing each other and starting to swing all over the place.
That's really true?
Dude, I was getting in a fight in the fucking press box.
Wow.
A guy is sitting behind me, and he's like, hey, sit down. This is the press box. He grabs my shoulder. I was fucking on him. Let's fucking. And he's going like this against his throat. He's like, this is the press box. But it was almost like madness came over. And when Tyson bit his ear off, which I couldn't even see where we
right.
were. I didn't even see as good as you saw at home until I watched the tape later. And they stopped that fight. It was madness.
So you didn't know why they stopped it at first?
No, everybody just went fucking crazy at that point because most people bet on Mike because it was Mike. People forget that, Holyfield was a scientific boxer who, you know what I mean?
Right.
But Mike was such a celebrity. All the celebrities that were there to see Mike.
Right.
So when that happened, everybody's flying out of the place. There's all kinds of shit being thrown around and all. And we went back in the casino. They were fucking turning over tables. Jesus. Boom, they started shitting stuff down. By the way, none of this made the news. Nothing. We didn't get to our rooms for another 2 hours because the LA gangster scene that showed up there was fucking unbelievable. It was Oakland and LA gangsters. And it was a guys wearing if a guy had on a red tuxedo, he wore it from his shoes to his top of his top hat. And then he was with a guy all dressed in blue like that. It was fucking crazy. And this was all over. All the tables with the money went on it, immediately. $500 if you want to put a bet down anywhere. I mean, the money that came into that town was obnoxious. And those were the guys that lost their shit after. And there was fucking guns going off and shit. Everybody had to go out. Yeah. And none of it made, we were like, oh man, we get back to the fucking thing. We'll turn on the news and see what happened. Vegas news acted like there wasn't a problem in the world. They'd shut the fucking casino floor down. People were just grabbing chips and shit. And, guys would tell me later, they go, there'll be a lot of fucking holes in the desert over this,
Right.
They switched all the chips, I believe, like by the next morning, and they got it up running again. But they lost fucking control for like an hour.
Wow.
Out there. Yeah.
Were there a lot of gang members?
Yeah. I mean, they were all dressed up, but it was, and these guys are fucking humongous. I don't know how big you got to be in a fucking LA gang, but it seems like you got to be 400 or 500 pounds.
Wow.
Just enormous guys wherever I look. It was insane.
Jeez.
And that was like almost like the end of prize fighting is bigger than everything. You know what I mean? Like that night, I think, was the end of an era in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Now it's focused on a bunch of different like MMA and all that.
Yeah.
It's broken up a lot.
It's broken up all over, but you don't have, like Earl, when he was a kid, my friend Earl saw Muhammad Ali walk down the street in New York when Muhammad Ali was the champ. This would have probably been, mid 70s.
Right.
And everybody came out of every building and was running next to him. And, it was basically like the Pope got to town. Like people saw Ali, and it was the biggest thing ever in their lives. Like Earl's still talking about it 35, 40 years later. And I don't think that, not only is there not a fighter that big, I don't think there's a celebrity that big. I don't
That's
think
true.
anyone.
I think Michael Jordan, they tell a story about, Charles Barkley tells a story about, and Charles Barkley is famous and well known, being out with Michael Jordan and then just shooting pool, and people they had to have it roped off because people were just staring at him shooting pool. Like they just wanted to watch him, like just be.
I wonder, like, who is the celebrity that could walk in this room right now and make us feel that way? Is there anyone?
I don't know.
Is it still Jordan? Is it still? Is there anyone big enough?
Who would it even be for the? Well, yeah.
Until last night when he fucking sang with that girl.
Oh, Taylor Swift.
When I saw him singing with Taylor Swift.
Rich Voss.
If Voss came in,
I would
Voss
lose it.
came in here now, and the thing is, I've seen so many Voss impersonators that it would probably take me a couple minutes before I even believe it.
You wouldn't trust it.
No.
You wouldn't trust that he walked through the door.
But if it was Voss and Barney together, I'd probably faint. I'd probably pass out and go down. Joe, you're a millennial baby, right?
Yeah.
Who would it be for you?
For the millennials.
Yeah.
And I'm
Who's the
speaking
rep-
for all of them.
Good.
It'd be great if he didn't answer because he's on Instagram.
Yeah.
He like, has no attention span.
It's probably who would be somebody from there.
Yeah, probably Instagram star.
No, who would it be? The guy who invented Facebook? That fucking nerdy weirdo?
Oh, Mark Zuckerberg? Possibly. I mean, for me personally, it would have to be Kevin Garnett, but that's just me speaking for me.
See, that's the problem.
Yeah.
A locals thing isn't now. Like, what I'm talking about with Muhammad Ali, that's what it was like when he went to Africa, London, Japan. Doesn't matter where he went.
Probably LeBron James then, yeah.
Yeah, who's the guy of your generation is
Probably
really what you're asking,
LeBron,
right?
yeah.
Do you think LeBron, because he's not, I don't know if
Too
he's
humanized. Like,
he's
Jordan,
almost gotten out there too much. Jordan is
mystery.
It's still a mystery to this day. You know what I mean? Like Jordan, it seems like he would be in a bat cave doing something.
It almost seems like it would have to be an older sports star. I don't know if there's a current one.
And look, if you look back to in Jordan's time, look at the other people who were around. You had Wayne Gretzky, who was the fucking greatest hockey player of all time. You had Bo Jackson going back and forth.
Yeah.
You certainly had, at the time, we thought McGuire and Sosa were the biggest things that you could be. And yet none of them touched Jordan.
No.
None of them came close to Jordan. And Jordan didn't play in New York or L.A. When you really even think about that.
Yeah.
That he played in a Midwestern fucking cow town, a place that fucking pigs' intestines are laying in the streets and cattle blood just goes.
But you had to watch TV. It was there was no YouTube. There was no Twitter. It was like now that it's so divided, it's like I don't think anybody gets that kind of exposure anymore.
You don't have the bigger than life.
Right. You don't have the bigger of the life because not everybody's focused on the same thing. You may be watching TV, but I'm watching, I'm watching YouTube. I'm watching something else.
Yeah, we got that picture of me coming back with the tickets to see Jordan and your little brother.
That's right,
being
yeah.
so young and just diving at me like when I said, and I have Jordan tickets. Unfortunately, this would make a great thing. Unfortunately, I have a cigar in one hand and a popsicle in another. And I just look like I have this weird oral fixation that can never go away. Why would I put them down to show off the tickets? But
How did you even hand him the tickets?
But he went crazy. And then you were saying when you were a little kid how people felt about Jordan. You said in your school what they did. They brought the Jordan.
Oh yes, they brought the cutout.
Yeah.
So there was a cutout just for for the kids to just stand next to him and then feel like, oh my God, this is what it would be like. And people got their picture taken with. It was just a cutout.
It's a life-size cutout.
Yeah, exactly. So you're getting the height effect, and like kids were thrilled to stand next to the cutout.
I will say this, the 1992 Olympics, watching that team, watching all of our greatest athletes get together and crush the rest of the world. You had to buy a special package so you can see all the games,
Right.
no matter what. I'm like, fuck yeah, give me the package. I remember the package will come on immediately, correct? So when I hang up, package is on. I can trust you for that. Daryl, I've written your name down. Daryl, we were so excited to see ourselves crush the rest of the world. Now we don't know whether we're going to win.
But the people from other countries were excited for that too. We were playing Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
Yugoslavian fans were like, "Dream team, dream team." It's like they were rooting for us too.
Yeah, it was. That is true. But I don't know whether we could get up to that level again. I mean, we certainly don't have a football player who's idolized now, right? I mean, Aaron Rodgers, we all agree that he's great.
Now, but there's some people would say Tom Brady.
I don't think you'd be freaking out if Tom Brady was on your plane. I think you would still, like, if Tom Brady and Mike Tyson were on the same plane, I think people would be more excited that Tyson was on there, even after all these years.
Yeah.
I really believe that.
Yeah. I mean, only if you're from Boston. It's only for a local thing. I think they would freak out over
Even no matter what, it just seems like he's a kind of a tall, regular guy.
Yeah.
He's not otherworldly. Like, the idea of Muhammad Ali being on the same planet of you.
He's a bigger personality.
Yeah.
Tom Brady doesn't have that personality that Tyson has with all his whatever you call it, his history and his baggage.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have that. So what he does on the field is unbelievable, but he doesn't have that aspect. You know what I mean? That bigger than life personality thing
And you do
that
have
Muhammad Ali definitely had.
You do have to have like a folklore almost like element to your personality too. Like there can't be too many answers. You can't be on SNL and be in movies and you know what I mean?
You don't think? You think at a certain point it's overexposure?
Yeah. So like commercials would be one thing. You know, you have these like small little snippets, but you still get to kind of maintain a mystery about how that person operates.
Shoes still outsell. I mean, you brought up LeBron. His shoes don't sell as well as Jordan's shoes.
Right. They're the number one shoe. Like even like among shoe collectors, it's like only everyone.
Why do people collect shoes?
I don't. I have no idea. I have no idea why they're sneakerheads or whatever. Waiting online to get the new Jordans, and it's only about Jordan. It's all they care about. That's the most popular, most expensive shoe. There's Jordans for tens of thousands of dollars.
It's the greatest logo you've ever seen in your life.
Badass.
A man flying through the air with a ball in his hand.
And what are those kids who make the shoes? How much money do they make?
You know what? It's funny too. I saw Jordan at least 3 or 4 times playing baseball, and he fucking sucked. And it used to be funny as shit, and it still didn't hurt him.
No.
And he fucking swung like that goddamn bat was fucking tied to something behind him.
I think people admired him for taking the risk to do that. They're like, who would do? He's like, nah. Because he had all the right when they were interviewed him about it. He's like, I'm just going to do it. He's like, I'm just going to do what I want to do, and then let everybody sort it out later. I'm going to try hard until I don't want to try anymore, and then I'll do something else. It's like I think people like the idea of not living by rules, by anybody else's expectations.
I'll tell you, one of his rules is not to be able to follow a fucking fly ball. 'Cause I saw him looking up like it was being dropped out of a fucking airplane. Like literally, there was points in the game where you're like, I think I'm a better baseball player than Michael Jordan. I think if I went in right now, I could do this better than Michael Jordan.
That's a human quality of him. It's like, I could actually beat him.
You know, the other thing, too, is I don't think the city of Chicago has recovered from him, you know, retiring. I don't think that they've ever felt okay again, since they're always looking for something to happen.
Well, it's like Derrick Rose. I mean, I think they put all their marbles in Derrick Rose every year, and he just shreds his knee. I mean, the guy's unbelievable, but his body, you know, I don't know if his body can hold out.
Knees.
Yeah.
This fucking guy's got knees like a crack pipe.
But that's like LeBron. That's like LeBron too. He leaves Cleveland, like you're just, that whole economy is gone once he goes to Miami, you know.
Yeah.
And Miami, like when he left Miami, they were like, they weren't really heartbroken about it. It's like, oh, we'll rollerblade.
Thanks
do
for
something
what we
else.
got. Thanks.
Yeah.
See you later, man. Let us know if you ever want to come back and be with prostitutes. And yeah, that is the funny thing. All Florida teams are that way. Like, if the team starts to lose, people just get up and walk right out.
Right.
Like,
Forget
this
it.
is fucking nuts.
Go
I
to
could
the
be
beach.
fishing for 15 minutes.
It's
I own a boat.
It says bumper sticker. I'd rather be fishing. It's real for them.
It's real. Yeah. Like, they would do well if they somehow put a stadium on a beach where people could just bring their boats up. Because a lot of times these people take their boats nowhere. They go out like 60 yards to a sandbar. Everyone parties out there,
Right.
and then they come back at the end of the day.
Right.
That's the extent of the use of the boat all year long.
That's it.
Yes. But you stand in about 1.5 feet of water.
All right.
And you're like, take them off. You're just yelling at women to take the fucking tops down. And that's an entire lifestyle. All right. Dan claims he has inside Jordan knowledge. Dan, go ahead, buddy.
Ronnie B.
Yeah.
Jordan didn't leave basketball to try baseball because he thought he was going to be good. That was an arrangement. He was going to be suspended from basketball for gambling.
Yeah, we've always heard that, but
It's a rumor.
yeah.
Yeah, well, you know what? No one associated with the NBA offices or Jordan is going to tell you that. But people around the league, it's pretty fairly common knowledge.
No, I've heard it. We've all heard it before, you know, and it was because not that he gambled on basketball, that he gambled on golf, right?
No, actually, that he gambled on sports, not basketball per se, but other sports.
What sports?
And, football, baseball. You know, he's a gambler. But the other part of it is, look, when he was finished, kept coming back. He loved basketball so much. He wasn't going to walk away in the prime when he had a chance to get more rings. You know.
Yeah, you're right. I mean seeing him when he played in Washington.
Well, exactly. I mean, you know, he's coming back at 42 years old to play.
Yeah.
You don't walk away when you're 34 to try something that you know you're going to suck at. But listen, that was the cover story, and everyone bought it.
I'll tell you this, you never saw a spring training game like that. I mean, it was a spring training game and people were fucking hanging off the goddamn out of trees. Yeah, they were going crazy. Yeah.
They packed it out. But I thought it was a reaction to his father passing.
Well, no, I think, didn't his father die right as he did it? Because there was always the rumor of Jordan owed money and that he killed his dad, but that couldn't have possibly been true.
No, I don't think so.
You know? That whole story was a weird one, too.
Right.
You know, here's the story. I don't know whether you guys saw 2020, but they're going to be showing this on either History Channel. They've released OJ's deposition things from the civil trial. And OJ gets pummeled by these lawyers. And he doesn't know which way to fucking turn.
Wow.
He gets destroyed and he's like, yeah, I guess I do feel somewhat responsible. Did you strike her? I could have stopped her from being Oh, did you do it yourself? I mean, he just doesn't know where the fucking go. He would have been considered so guilty,
right?
If they would have ever gotten him on this stand.
Wow.
And the weird thing was on this 2020 or whatever it was, so they had Goldman's dad on there, right? And he would break in, and it would be like, you know, not sure, never had the shoes.
He was a talking head?
Yeah, and it looked like, he was doing I Love the 90s. I'm like, this is fucking crazy. Your son died, and now you look like you're on VH1.
Right.
It's so weird.
Never saw the Bruno Magno shoes. Well, you weren't barefooted that day. Were you, OJ?
But that's how trials could be now coming up. You know what I mean? It's like they just do it, and then people are just chiming in. There's a pop-up ad. Guys just chiming in. And it's really like, it's the way we're headed, I think.
I know one thing. I can't I can't ever look at a World Star video without reading all the comments.
The best.
Because it'll just say something like, bitch ain't got her shoes on. And I'll laugh for fucking 10 minutes. Like, it doesn't even have to be structured as a joke.
It's better if it's not.
Yeah. And they don't care who they drop the M-bomb on. White, black.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Not even a person.
If there was a black dude who got shot on there by cops, and they weren't offended. They were just busting balls.
It's all it is.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. There's a guy who got shot in a wheelchair by these women, and they're just like, should have wheeled his dumb ass away. Like, why? Why are you saying this?
They're always more clever than the person involved.
Yeah.
I would never get myself involved in something like this.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But yeah, I know you get caught up in trial stuff, right?
Yeah, I can get into weird ones where suddenly, I'll let a couple big ones go by, but then I'll get really into obsessive.
Why do some get popular and some don't?
I have no idea. I was actually just thinking about this recently because you remember the Kaylee Anthony case, and then recently there was that the body of the toddler who washed up. I think it was maybe in Massachusetts or something. Washed up. And then, they figured out the identity of the child and, with the mother and the boyfriend or whatever, and they think it's them. And it's like, why this one? It was very similar the way she was found. It was a baby in a bag and she had her blanket and it was the same horrifying facts of the Kaylee Anthony situation.
But why not that one?
Yeah, why are
what
we
is
not?
What is it about zeitgeist that one grabs us and the other doesn't?
Right.
Yeah.
I have no idea why. I mean, certainly you can say when there's a white female murderer, they seem interested because they got interested in Kaylee Anthony, Casey Anthony, and then they got interested in whoever that chick was who, stabbed her boyfriend in the shower. That
they
was
like a little hotness to it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. They like a little hotness to the defendant.
Right.
Makes people stick up for that defendant.
But murderer hot, which is not really
not model
regular. Yeah, not a model, not a movie star. Hot for a murderer.
Right.
I think
like
they go after
9.
whatever's trending, like the dentist who killed the lion.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a weird thing, but I think it got a lot of clicks and a lot of play. So then the next day, they did stories on 3 more healthcare professionals that killed 3 big game animals. And it's like, oh my God, this is an epidemic.
Yeah.
But it's like one thing that says the media just focuses on that.
Well, they showed this the other day from Florida. It's up on the iBang. And it was a woman, I think she was riding a sea turtle. And that came after the person who was hanging on to a manatee. You know what I mean? I think Mike is on to something with this. Now, this one really blew up because she just got on this turtle and was enjoying herself. But we love to feel better than everyone in Florida.
Yes, Florida woman is always doing something like this.
Yeah.
It's the same chick over and over.
Yeah.
It's a protected species, the sea turtle.
Oh, is that what the
So
problem?
that's why it's very upset. There's a lot of laws in Florida. You can't
They'll
mess with the
stop
eggs.
traffic.
Yeah, and
They'll stop traffic if a turtle comes up.
certainly when I was younger, there was a thing of certain towns where you had to have your lights off by a certain hour because the hatchlings hatch, and then they normally go to the moonlight.
Yeah.
So that's how they find their way out to sea, but then they would follow, street lights and stuff like that and
get killed.
Get run over. So yeah, it's a very serious thing in Florida, the sea turtles.
So
she's riding it.
They hold up traffic like the Pope. It's like, we can't have the Pope here. No one will get anywhere.
Yeah. They will. The other thing about the Pope is that the whole thing in Philly, he already took one helicopter. Why didn't he just helicopter him in? Like it was the Who at Woodstock.
Yeah, just drop
you
him right
try
in.
to drive the Who through Woodstock. They know it would be a problem. That sea turtle thing just kills me for some reason because how dumb everybody is.
Now, did she get in trouble for
She's
that?
arrested.
They're so pissed at her.
Now, who has jurisdiction? Department of Fish and Wildlife?
That's a good call on that.
Department of Weights and Measures? Like who arrests?
Mike Vecchione, you're not only going to be performing in Vegas, but now tonight you're going to be on Fox News.
Yes, Red Eye.
Red Eye. Did they let you know what the topics are going to be?
Not yet.
No.
No, I'll get them at probably 3.
Now that show, you don't have to be too political. It's the only show.
No, it's like it's good. Tom is great, and it's like it's lighter side topics. So I like that. You can ping pong them around,
right?
And it's you kind of look for the joke.
Yeah,
it's kind of like low key, but it's good to research the topics because there's some weird ones. It's like this. This would be one, the sea turtle, the lady riding the sea turtle.
But would they be mad at viewers like Mike Huckabee believes in God? What an idiot! Then would they be like, "Come on, now, not that." So in certain places, we do have a core audience.
I think at 3 a.m. when it airs, anything goes. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody. It always does feel like a free for all.
Yeah, no, it's cool. They throw it out there, and then I guess what? I've never taken a hardcore stance like that.
Right.
Like I don't believe. What do you think of the sea turtle thing? Let me first say that God doesn't exist. Okay, that's number one.
Well, we were bringing that up with the Pope being in town. Is that literally there was no one saying, "Isn't this ridiculous?" All the people on TV were complete believers, and I grew up Catholic, so it's not offensive to me, but I don't know if there was a Protestant who came to town. I don't know who any of the big Protestant guys are that have those super churches, but whatever.
No, there are none.
Yeah.
You just answered your own question.
Yeah.
Get one, and then we'll worship him. But you don't have one, so respect our guy.
Well, there was like a Jerry Falwell years ago, and those type of guys. And that one guy, I think he sells out an arena in Houston every week.
Joe Osteen.
Yeah, he's on. He's got a show here too, like the rest of us. But if he came to town and everybody was just like screaming, I think I wouldn't want my news person to be screaming too.
Yeah, I thought that was especially weird. I get it, covering it. It's a big story. Talking to the people who are out there are going to be people who are excited to see the Pope. But they didn't hide their own excitement, which I think was really funny. Like, I'm thrilled and I feel blessed just to be
my
here.
Blessings. And when she flew I'll never forget this. She goes, and there won't be any turbulence. And I'm like, he's not magic. He's a man on earth like you. If it was, but this is the weird thing I was thinking too. Do you realize how much he outdrew Jesus in his lifetime? Jesus never had those.
He didn't have those numbers.
Yeah, he did not have those kind of crowds. Jesus never worked any of the really big rooms of that time and worked small stuff.
In his defense, I don't think in Jesus' defense, there weren't as many people on the earth at that time. The Pope has a much bigger audience, especially, people are procreating. They're not using, his whole thing is don't preach no birth control so that he has more followers.
But Jesus, well, first of all, I guess we didn't even know how many people were on the planet then, right? Because he didn't even know that there were other countries. Like Jesus didn't know that there was a North America.
Right. By the way, there's some stuff going on over there we should check out.
Oh, by the way, this is the last name of say to you, Indians. You're going to find out in a few hundred years. I know them. The Mormons actually believe that when Jesus was crucified, he went down and talked to Indians.
Really?
So they thought that that was I think Joe. Is it Joe Smith's?
John Smith.
Joe Smith was a guy in my neighborhood. They said he was great.
Is it John Smith?
Yeah, it's John Smith. At least that's how he checks into. But really, can you imagine wasting your time on Indians if you came in the only white guy they've ever seen? Apparently, they didn't even listen. The first thing that Jesus said, so now nobody's got a wheel over here. There's no wheels at all.
You think he could have helped out a little? Just like, hey, I want you to know this is some stuff other people have been working on. Just want to get you guys up to speed.
Spread the word.
Yeah. You could get a chariot or something like that. Maybe train a buffalo to pull you. I know you don't have horses. That's another thing I'll explain later. I had read this. I forgot where I heard it, but when the Spaniards came off with horses, the natives at the time thought it was one being. They basically thought it was a centaur.
Right.
They couldn't see where the horse ended.
That's awesome.
Dear God.
These people are coming. They've got giant legs. They run incredibly fast. 2 heads. Yeah.
So what did the Indians do before horses? I guess they had to just walk everywhere.
Yeah, they walked everywhere.
Nomadic.
I mean, I think that was probably a happier life, a simpler, happier life than what we have.
Yeah, they live like New York.
Now you have Uber, which I don't think is good.
Have you ever used Uber? Do you use it?
Yeah, I have to.
Do you like it?
I'll use it out of town. I think the next time I go to LA, I'm not going to rent a car. I'm just going to use it.
Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, I've heard that that's the way to go now.
Well, I know, like, when you say go to L.A., you rent a car, you don't use it as much as you if you're there on business. Like, if you're there on pleasure, yeah, rent a car, drive to the beach, go up to the Pacific Coast Highway. But if you're there on business, no. Renting a car is the biggest pain in the ass there is. Because you're like, I don't know where this place is.
Yeah. You spend all your time looking for parking.
Yeah, then I got to park close to a place. Is this okay? I don't even know. Is this where they park here? I'm not from this place. Is it all right to park here? Here is Austin. Austin, what's up, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, Ronnie?
Yeah.
No, I was going to say the Mormons, first of all, it was Joseph Smith with the Mormons.
Joseph Smith.
Joseph Smith.
Yeah, and...
it was right. Joe Smith.
Joe Smith.
Yeah, but that's like the most important religion in America because they keep us safe. If you look at like other countries looking at us, like that's our Taliban. You know what I mean? They're like a bunch of people that live out in the mountains of Utah and think that they actually are living in God's chosen promised land. That way, if we're ever invaded, no one's fighting harder than them. They seem nice, but watch out.
They are incredibly nice every time that I meet one. And I said this the other day. I was coming into town, stopped on the Upper West Side, and a couple of Mormons attempted to give me lemonade. And they came over to the car and they said, here's some lemonade. And in front of the Mormon church, I'm like, dude, do I look like I'm going to drink lemonade from a fucking stranger? I don't know who I look like to you, but this is, I'm not fucking doing. I'm tripping for 3 days.
You hit him with some fresh New York attitude.
Yeah.
What do I look like to you?
But it did seem offensive. Here, drink this.
Yeah.
You might as well put your dick up to my fucking mouth. Said, you want to put this in your mouth?
Well, I don't want to be impolite.
Well, yeah, if you guys ever check out, I think it was Vice, as a matter of fact, did a whole documentary on the Mormons in Mexico that are fighting the cartels. These guys are just down there in these big Mormon militias. Some of them are actually the Romney family, it's like Mitt Romney's family.
Yeah, Romney's family moved down to Mexico and moved back.
Yeah, they're shooting it out with cartels down there.
Good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good. Stay on the front lines, Romneys. That's fucking great.
No, but that's what you need down there to fight the cart. You need believers, like people who are doing it transcends money. You can't be bribed, you can't be bought off.
Right.
You like believe it in your heart that it's God's will that you fight these cartels. Like I think that's what you need.
So we need ISIS.
I think so.
Yeah.
To fight the cartel, like pit the bad guys against each other.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We should just say to ISIS, you hear some of this shit that the cartels are saying about Muhammad. It made me sick. Oh, they said Muhammad eats shit. I think it's awful and somebody had to go over there. It's terrible. That's the thing about it in our country is like, we literally don't even, well, if you feel that way, I don't care. You know what I mean?
Go for it.
Like if somebody said something bad about Jesus, we were all brought up Christian, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You wouldn't feel like, oh, it's true. I better fight for his honor.
Right.
You're like, he can take care of you. Don't worry about it. Because you're not even much of a Catholic, right?
No, I mean, I was raised Catholic, but yeah, I'm a bad Catholic guy, you know.
How were you raised Catholic? Did they take you to church?
They took me to church, and I went to what's the school you go before your communion? Catechism?
CCD.
CCD. I went to CCD for a little while, but then I got out.
You were a CC rider.
Yeah, CC rider. Didn't really stick all too well.
What do you mean stick?
Like, I don't know any of the prayers or anything.
Yeah, but you're not living with your girl in sin.
That's right.
She lives
That's why you're not.
She lives 12 minutes away. You just said it.
Yeah.
That's a Catholic thing. All right, I'm very
You
Catholic
keep
than I thought.
a nice 12-minute space for the Holy Spirit to go through.
At least that's how he explains it to her.
Yeah.
It's because I'm so religious.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a whole bunch. Like, I found a bunch of like Catholic like relics or whatever. Not relics, but like
Relics.
there was a bunch of crosses in my house.
That's not a relic.
Okay.
Relics, did you?
So what you found was rosaries.
Yeah, I found a bunch of rosaries and like a really old cross. Like, it looks like a vampire cross almost. It was like from the 1800s.
A crucifix,
A crucifix.
Sure.
There you
Do
go.
you still have it?
Yeah, I still have it. I can bring it in if you want to see a creepy old cross.
I wonder how. First of all, I was brought up Catholic, so I don't believe in creepy old cross.
Yeah. It's called comforting.
Creepy when you think of it.
It's called a comforting cross.
Yeah, I could take a nap under stations of the cross, and I've seen Protestant friends be frightened of that.
Terrified.
And I'm like, no, it's great. This he gave up his blood for us. And they're like, it seems bad. Protestants will only put up an empty cross.
Yes, exactly. He is risen.
He's
cross.
risen, yeah.
So
that's what
they're
that
kind
means.
of positive, you know what I mean?
Really?
They see look on the brighter side of things.
Oh, yeah, that'd be like saying, oh, yeah, I saw the Rolling Stones stage after they left and went back. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the impressive part. It's the concert itself.
When I was in the Vatican, I traveled with my friend, and she's Jewish, and, you know, we went into a church where there was someone who was a saint and preserved and in the glass coffin, and she was beside herself. Like, first of all, we're in a church in Rome, and she's just going, "Is that real? Is that real?
Is that
what
real?
does that mean? What is that? That's fake, right?" I'm like, "It's not like a wax museum. No, it's real." And she's like, "What do you mean? Is that a body?" And I'm like, "Can you just keep your voice down? What are you doing? Just relax." And she's like, "I've never seen a body. I've never seen a body." And I was like, "Well, you've been to a funeral." And she's like, "What?" And I was like, "Oh, you've never."
They don't go to funerals?
Yeah, they don't have open casket. They don't do the open casket.
They get it in the ground fast.
So she was shrieking in a church while everyone was silently walking around.
Yeah, I
Just
think the things
terrified.
that are comforting to some people are just not to others.
I remember being a little kid, going to the funeral home and being lifted off the floor so I could kiss the dead body.
Yes.
You know? And it was only like years later that I found out that would freak people out.
Yeah.
And they're like, "How could you?" And I go, "It was my great grandmother." You know what I mean?
Right.
She was like, if she was a ghost, she wasn't going to come after me. I can't tell you how nice this woman treated me. I'm not going to fear her in life or death. But some people have such a gigantic fear of death as if it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Well, have you ever noticed that's a thing in horror movies where, for some reason, like stumbling across the bones of a victim
Right.
or something, and then everyone screams and
It
runs?
rhymes.
And it's like, that's kind of a weird thing that
Right.
you're like, you didn't stumble across a murder in process.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
this has long been done. It's the bones.
It's over.
Oh God, bones!
You're screaming about history right now.
They touched me.
Chris, did you go to funerals when you were a kid?
No, never went to any funerals as a kid. First time I went to a funeral, I was probably like 18 or 19.
Yeah. That was the guy you killed?
No.
It was nice you showed up.
Yeah.
I believe that
So
was
did
an
that-
OD.
How do you feel? Were you like out of touch with death because of that? I think it's important. It's important for kids to go. Like, I don't know about picking them up and having them kiss the dead body.
That went a little too far.
I don't know. You tell the kid like you didn't love her enough. That's why she's in this situation.
I remember just being really detached the entire time. Just like, this is weird. Surprised. And I was happy. It took me that long to actually go to the first funeral when I was like 18 or whatever it was.
What do you mean? Like you avoided a couple?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I'd rather avoid a wedding than a funeral.
Yeah.
I got to
They're
figure
worse.
out. Yeah, I got to make sure I don't get caught up in this Joe List thing.
Oh, I loved your message at the Big J roast. By the way.
Oh, is that right?
Hilarious. We were
Thanks.
dying.
Thanks.
Yeah, I loved it.
That was a better way than going.
It's perfect.
Because everybody who went had a terrible time. And by the way, Anthony went and did like as much time as he could, and people were still killing him over it. And I had Chris shoot me something on the phone, and everybody's like, "That was wonderful."
There you go.
Give the credit to Ant. Have you been back to do his show recently?
I'm doing it this week.
Are you really?
Yeah.
What day?
Thursday.
Thursday is. I'm going to be on there too.
I think it's Thursday. It's next. It's the 8th.
So I would like to do it with you.
October 8th. Yeah.
Who am I doing it with, Chris?
Mr. Eastside Dave McDonald.
Oh, a
That's
reunion
good
of
comedy.
sorts.
Yeah, it is a reunion. I actually think of us getting together on this show as somewhat of a super group, a power trio, if you will. A grand funk of broadcasting. I couldn't think of any other power trio. Really, really lost.
Cream.
Yeah, that would have been perfect. That would have made a lot more sense.
Mike Vecchione's in studio.
Yeah, I know. I'm sitting here right here looking. Oh, you weren't talking to me. Okay, gotcha.
Mike's performing at the Mardi Gras Casino in Hallandale Beach, Florida, October 16th and 17th. And then he's also performing at Brad Carrott's Comedy Club at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, November 9th through the 15th. Go to MikeVecchione.com for all additional dates. And Mike's album, Muscle Confusion, is available now on iTunes, and on Twitter, it's at Comic Mike V.
Thank you for the plugs.
All right, this is weird because I wasn't getting texts for a while, and now I'm getting all the texts at the same time.
It's very weird when that happens.
Isn't it weird?
The text storm.
Like novels are just being sent in to me. Here's Flathead saying, "Thank God for this defense. Bradford looks scared. He's panicking during the game."
It's going to be a rough year. It is a rough year.
Yeah, it's a terrible.
It was a nice win. You got to take the wins where you can get them, but it's like that offense. Not Monday night game. I watched that Monday night game, and they did not. It was just a lot of holding and a lot of frustration. They just did not look good.
No,
you know, what I mean, even in the win, Sproles is unbelievable. Like he looked great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He returned the punt. He's unbelievable, but their offense is stagnant, and it's just.
Sproles dropped a pass he was wide open for, though. I mean, wide open for a touchdown. Yeah.
But I don't begrudge him.
Oh, I turned on him in a heartbeat as soon as that happened.
Oh my God, you are an Eagles fan. You just turned on him immediately.
Yeah.
I love that little man.
Oh, he's great. He's great.
I love how Eagles fans turn. I grew up in Youngstown, for the first part of my life, and I thought those fans were bad. Then you go to Philadelphia, it's the same. It's just they turn so fast, man. Play to play.
No, Youngstown, did you follow Cleveland teams or Pittsburgh's? Cleveland?
It was right on the border, half for Pittsburgh and half for Cleveland. And Cleveland is such a hard luck. It's just such a hard luck city, man.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah. Those guys need something to, you talk about Miami, it's like there's so much to do. There's so many things to do. But in Cleveland, it's just like you live and die by that team. And it is so cold at those games. I went to a Browns game. It's like everybody's dressed in hunting gear because the wind coming off the lake just cuts through you.
Wasn't there like a game, I think it was like in the 80s, where a guy's ear just kind of fell over because it was so cold playing in Cleveland. And it was a playoff game.
Wow.
That his ear just fell down to the side of his head.
Oh my God.
It was back when, at another time, like when Bernie Kosar was at his best, it seemed like that team was going to get a ring. It really did.
2 times.
Yeah.
2 years.
So how far are we back? Jim Brown? Was that the last? Wow.
Yep. And it wasn't even a Super Bowl, NFL championship.
Yeah, NFL championship. That's all the Eagles got. It was a 1960 NFL championship. People still bring it up. Still fucking bring it up. Now, a couple years ago, I walked in and Jim Brown was in here and he was doing some show. I'm like, look at fucking Jim Brown is here. Talk about a bigger than life guy.
Yeah.
I go, he looks like he could still play. I mean, his shoulders were immense. But then he got up to walk. And I mean, it was difficult for him just walking in. I mean, what you give up in those by playing that game, it's a rough one.
He was the guy. My father grew up watching him, and he was apparently the guy. He was the Michael Jordan of football. Like, he was unstoppable, a man playing amongst boys.
Yeah.
So.
And then also, people never bring this up, but he was also at the time considered one of the greatest lacrosse players of all time.
Yeah,
really?
He played lacrosse in college in Syracuse, and there are people up there who still talk about him as the lacrosse player of all time. I'm not sure that he ever played before he got to fucking Syracuse.
He's one of those guys.
Yeah.
He's a Bo Jackson type, or Bo Jackson is a his type. Before,
Boy, Bo Jackson, that was something to watch him fucking play. It was fucking amazing. But, you look at a guy like Jim Brown that is still to this day as popular in Cleveland as ever.
Yeah.
And you got to wonder, is it better to play like for a smaller market like that sometime?
Right.
Where the people where they don't have a million things to care about.
Yeah, because you couldn't really get that with, I think, New York sports teams, not that level.
Jeter
That's true.
Won the city.
But that's because it's such a baseball town, I guess.
But
that's true. It is a baseball town.
It's a baseball town, but you know what's funny? When basketball's hot, I think it's even more of a basketball
Really?
thing.
Jeremy Lin owned the town for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think
it was great too.
People in the city, in the 5 boroughs, grow up playing basketball more than any other sport. They don't have fields to play in, so I think when football is really the third sport in this town, and I don't know whether you can say that about another American city. Jeter, beloved, Eli Manning has won 2 Super Bowls. 2 Super Bowl MVPs, and he could walk down 7th Avenue today and no one would bother him.
People think he's an accountant.
Yeah, if someone walked over and say, "Oh, you're Eli Manning," that guy's probably a tourist. I walked into a little restaurant. Tiki Barber was in there at the height of the Giants right before they won. No one gave a shit. No one cared.
Tiki was a dick anyway.
I actually had to say this to my mother-in-law. I go, that's Rondé Barber's brother right there. That's his twin brother.
For Tampa? The corner for Tampa? Yeah, that's funny.
And that guy destroyed the Philadelphia Eagles' dreams. Rondé, when he ran that fucking interception back.
Yeah.
To this day, he's afraid to go back to Philadelphia. He said, there was a layover once, and they had to put cops all around him.
Is Donovan living in Philly now? Do you know?
I don't know where he is. That's a good question. He was always, I think, lived on the Jersey side.
Oh, that's right. He did live in Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
gave the Eagles a lot of good years. It's a lot of excitement, a lot of NFC championship games. So, I mean,
just couldn't push it over the top.
Nah. At one Super Bowl against the Patriots, just couldn't do it.
Well, he was exhausted. You could see he was breathing hard. Did not expect that.
I did not expect this.
I am gaining weight. He actually walked over once. We're really out of timeouts. There's no other timeouts. What do we do in this situation? How? When he was mouth breathing, I was going crazy at my house.
It's too much.
I always am amazed by this. It still comes up, but people who get away wearing the other team's jersey to that home game, that was always the biggest fucking don't do it.
It happened all the time in Yankee Stadium. People with fuck Red Sox jerseys on, like during Red Sox games, and even not during Red Sox games. They just
what happens to them?
They get like the shit boot out of them.
Shit boot out of them because in the Eagles thing, they get beat up. You get physically mauled.
Throw shit at you and
probably beer dumping is the worst thing that happens at the Yankees. New Yankee Stadium.
I saw them at it was the playoffs. A guy wore a Dodgers hat, and this is a Phillies thing, and they tried to take the fucker over the rail. They had picked him up. They were heading for the rail. Fucking cop had a hold of the guy's fucking leg and was pulling back and saying, "Don't you?" He's yelling. They're going to chuck him over a fucking rail.
This is a murder.
People were like, "Dump him, dump him." I mean, the fucking Dodgers were beating the shit out of him that night too. They were just, everybody was just.
That's a good defense at the trial.
Yeah,
his attempted murder trial. But they were losing.
Your Honor, we were down by 7. Did you see the Bryce Harper got attacked in his own dugout?
I did see that.
By Cole Hamels? No, Papelbon. What am I saying?
Yeah. What was Cole doing there? Papelbon, it was another X-Phil. But the thing is, you know how big Bryce is? And he took his ass right to the back of the fucking dugout. It's very funny. That sport is the craziest thing where a pitcher can throw at somebody, right?
Yeah.
Hit them with a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. And then the thing is, well, I wanted to teach the other team something. Because Bryce gets hit.
Yeah.
Because Papelbon hit somebody. So Bryce had said the other day, he's like, well, I wish we'd get out of this stuff because I'm the guy who's going to get fucking hit at the next game. And Papelbon's been pissed at him ever since. And now he's acting like Bryce didn't run one out. But
exactly, that was what happened.
That was a bullshit excuse. But look, that's a big guy he took back, man, fast.
Papelbon fucking dominated.
He's got the leverage. It's who strikes first and who has he's coming down.
Yeah, he's coming down.
He had gravity on his side.
But there is something true. There's very little people on the planet as mean as a major league pitcher. These are just really mean, awful people. Awful people. Just they get themselves enraged before a fucking game.
Who is this who gets in between them there?
There's always that fucking guy at every game. Like, oh, come on, guys. Let them fight.
No, his face. You're terror. Like, this could have been me.
Well, this fucking Nationals, they're a circus.
It's really a fucking joke.
I mean, there's so much talent down there, and they blew it this year.
To the Mets, who've clinched.
Wow.
I did like Matt Harvey because I was watching them clinch, and he was smoking a cigarette while everyone else was smoking a cigar.
Is that right?
It made me a fan of Matt Harvey.
It just made me think, hey, this is a great time to start smoking. No one's going to bitch at me.
Yeah.
Hysterical.
Let me take this moment.
There's no such thing as a celebration cigarette.
There isn't.
Anywhere.
You can have one after a meal, but we did it. Let's light a fucking cigarette.
Smoke them if you got them, boys. Pumballs for everybody.
I'm just being festive.
Yeah.
That's a new sport. It's like baseball and then dugout brawls.
Yeah.
So like
the weirdness though of a major league pitcher. I don't think that you can meet a hitman that is as wicked as these fucking guys.
And crazy a little bit. Like, kind of just fucking nuts.
If someone gets a hit off them, they're just fucking glaring like, I don't believe this shit.
You have to have a mental toughness to come back, though.
Yeah.
That's the one thing about, like, I think the second hardest position in football is corner. The first is quarterback. And then corner, you're out on that island. And if you get torched, you have to be able to tackle. And if you get torched, you have to mentally be able to come back from that.
Well, it's an embarrassing position, you know, where you're saying somebody's faster and smarter than you.
Right.
In baseball, you get shelled, and then they literally come out and you hand the person the ball and you start walking.
Walk of shame.
By yourself. And like the only thing they say that's even close to that is not being able to get it up. It's the exact it's the exact thing.
Right.
I came here to do something.
Now you're talking my language. I made it relatable now.
We got to wrap this one up. No one's funnier than Mike Vecchione, and I'll fucking fight till I die over that, Chris. Say something about him right now.
All right. Mike Vecchione's performing at the Mardi Gras Casino in Hallandale Beach, Florida, October 16th and 17th, and he's also performing at Brad Garrett's Comedy Club at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, November 9th through the 15th. Go to MikeVecchione.com for all additional dates. Mike's album, Muscle Confusion, is available now on iTunes, and on Twitter, it's at Comic Mike V.
And Brad Garrett's at every one of those shows, so it's going to be a lot.
Oh, that'll be cool.
He'll be there. No, he's not going to be anywhere near there. They read his name. You would be great. We're doing a show. Everyone still loves Raymond. You can play my friend on that. That's it. We'll see you guys all again, 1974.
Ladies and gentlemen, the evening is over. We hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and we'll see you all again in 1974. Good evening!